Connacht came up well short against Leinster in Galway.
And we are all set to go in Limerick. Munster off and running with 2 tries to the good.
Brilliant from Ringrose, and Ringrose goes in beside the post.
Oh, that's brilliant. And it's Earls from the line. That is magnificent. It's a tough watch if you're an Ulster supporter this evening at Thomond Park.
Ulster will be hurting after that 57-point defeat in Limerick last weekend, and they'll need to be back at their best tonight with the return of a few familiar faces. Connacht arrive in Belfast looking for their first win here since November 1960. That year, Muhammad Ali won gold in the Olympics, and returning captain Jared Butler will be hoping for a knockout blow tonight. Connacht start the day third from bottom in Conference A with 11 points from their opening 5 games, while Ulster have slipped to third place in Conference B following that record-breaking defeat in Limerick last week. We're live at the Kingspan Stadium as Ulster take on Connacht in the third Interpro clash of the season. Kick-off 7:35. And don't forget that Air broadband subscribers can also watch tonight's live Guinness PRO14 coverage on the go with the Air Sport app. Visit air.ie/sport for more details on how to get the app. Hello and welcome to week 6 of the Guinness PRO14 season here on Air Sport. It's another weekend of Interpro action. I'm delighted to be joined tonight by former Ireland head coach Eddie O'Sullivan and former Munster and Leinster captain and now journalist Liam Toland. Guys, welcome. Thanks for coming. It's almost black and white back in your day, was it, Liam? I shouldn't say that. I'll be in trouble. Eddie, let's talk about next weekend, or last weekend. I mean, 2 disappointing results for the 2 teams that are playing tonight.
Well, I think the Connacht game, they're probably disappointed with losing, but they actually played quite well. And there's a certain tempo in Connacht's game at the moment, but they'll still be disappointed. There was a lot of talk about that game, that they might catch Leinster. But I think Leinster were ready. They weren't going to make the same mistake they made last year. Certainly Munster was a bit of a shock to everybody, although when you saw the Ulster team arriving, you knew they were going to be under a lot of pressure. So all in all, it was 2 disappointed teams, but what that does is it puts you in a kind of a pivotal moment in your season going into Europe. You want to go into Europe on a high, and if things go wrong for either of them tonight in any particular way, then it puts extra pressure on for next week. Yeah,
absolutely. And Liam, you were in Munster obviously for that game in Thomond. I mean, what did you make of that one? I mean, it was tough watching for me. What did you think of it?
Well, before we even get into the analysis, Tommy, there's a cultural dimension to it, you know, and we're seeing it evolve over the season already, where teams are a little like the French league, where teams are picking, look, we're not going to win that one, we might get a bonus point. And I think there's a little bit of that at the weekend. I think, to be fair to Dan McFarland, with all the injuries he had, he actually genuinely sent out the best team he could. But there's other teams that are doing it. So we're getting a bit of that seesaw approach to some of the games. Very disappointing for Ulster, obviously. And we'll get into it a little later on about maybe the nuts and bolts of why it was.
I don't think they saw that. I think they thought they could go down and be competitive.
Yeah.
And a bit like the Ospreys in Cork a few weeks ago, thought, you know, we mightn't win, but we'd be competitive. But the wheels came off very early. And there's scar tissue around that for any squad. When you get beaten that badly and you have to pitch up again the following week, even with guys coming back, there's that worry that if things start to go wrong tonight, will we have the wherewithal to reel it in, you know? And that's something you have to think about going into the game.
And absolutely, as from a coach to player point of view, if last week the coach was saying, listen, we're going to go down, we're going to do this, we're going to implement it. And I know I'm not using Ulster as an example because the injury's there, but the following week the coach is coming back out with his message again, and the players are listening, and a little bit of doubt can come in between that relationship, and that's the cultural part. That's the fascinating part for me when you're watching these big... Look, the scoreboard is horrible, you forget about that. But is it impacting teams throughout the season where you ultimately will need to go to the likes of Thomond Park to win, and you need to really dig in and understand what that means? You need a bit of muscle memory to get across the line when you do.
And do you think, will the guys be, will they be feeling that? Will they feel the pressure, certainly tonight?
Well, certainly Ulster know they have to respond tonight. Like, no matter what anyone says, last week's kind of a humiliation, albeit for fairly good reasons, they were on the wrong foot. They still have to make a statement tonight. And the same way Connacht, if they get the second loss in a row, it starts seeping into the psyche, and it's early in the season. This is the time of the year you want to get some wind in your sails, and at least everybody pitching up a training feeling good. But when you ship a couple of losses or a couple of bad outings, then everyone's mind starts to pivot a little bit.
But a big one as well for me, I mean, people probably thought, speaking to people during the week, that you kind of get a flight back from Bloemfontein to Belfast, and it's not like that.
No.
I mean, these trips to South Africa are difficult for the players.
It's a whole new dimension to Pro 14 rugby as the South African trip. No, there's no time difference really, so there's no jet lag, but it's just the process of travelling for so long.
30 hours of travel.
Yeah, sitting in one place, airports, buses. It's mentally and physically draining. And to come back then and pitch up like you were like sleeping in your own bed for 2 or 3 nights, it doesn't work like that. So that's something every team has to figure out, though. Every team has to deal with that.
We often say, you know, like they know it's on the team sheet, but like take something like dehydration. So the impact of so many hours in the air is going to have a massive impact. I don't know what the science behind that is, and maybe it'll take a couple of seasons to figure that out.
I would
but
think
there is a player welfare issue about it.
You're going to have to, I suppose, cull your training some way the week after a trip like that. You can't just pitch up like you were at home for the previous week. There are adjustments to be made, which obviously goes around. You adjust your preparations, which doesn't help you.
Well, they have to. And, I mean, this is a big weekend because they need to recover from that. Let's look at Connacht then as well. I mean, they've picked a strong side as well. They're going to Belfast, Liam. They're looking to win, really.
Well, I actually think that Connacht have a cracking. I'd forget, you know, your opening thing about the 1960s. Yeah. I think what's more relevant is Connacht have beaten Ulster twice in the last 5 times. They've shared the spoils at home. The home team's winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what Connacht have culturally is they know they can beat Ulster.
Yeah.
They'll be aware of what happened last week. They'll also be conscious of Rory Best coming in, but he's not going to flick a switch that's going to transition from last week to this week. So I think Connacht have a cracking chance to win this. I think particularly in the second row with Ultan Delan and Quinn Roux, 2 big meaty guys who can carry the ball and do a bit of damage as well. So
there's any pressure on them either. Like, we're talking about that history lesson, but, you know, Andy Friend said in the week he's not even thinking about that. It's about going up tonight and delivering a performance, knowing that if things fall their way, this Ulster team might be a little brittle because they haven't got everybody back yet. There's very inexperienced players starting tonight for Ulster, and on the back of last week, in the back of their mind. So I think they're going to pitch up and play and see what happens. So that's a good place to be.
The Connacht front 5 alone is more than capable of asking some serious questions.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, let's head up to the Kingspan Stadium now to confirm all of tonight's team news with the matchday crew. Andrew Trimble, Stephen Ferris and Graham Little.
Yes, hello, good evening. Welcome to the Kingspan Stadium in Belfast. A second consecutive Irish interprovincial derby for Ulster following that absolute mauling at the hands of Munster. We'll be watching it in the company of 2 former Irish internationals, Stephen Ferris and Andrew Trimble. Stephen, if you were the head coach, Dan McFarland, what would be the most important thing that happened from the kick-off tonight to get over the pain of that defeat 6 days ago?
Yeah, well, it was pain, a lot of pain inflicted down in Limerick against a strong Munster team. But tonight it's all about getting off the flying start, getting this Kingspan crowd behind them. It's the first home Inter-Pro of the season, and the most important thing, Graham, is victory.
Will that come against Connacht? It's been a long time since they won here, Andrew. Nearly 60 years, believe it or not, since Connacht got a victory in Belfast, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly the history books are stacked against Connacht, to be honest, but they've been playing some really good rugby this season. They've gone down to Glasgow at home, they've gone down to Leinster at home, but those have been big performances, and it's kind of not been a reflection of where they've been at. They threw the ball about and they're coming locked and loaded tonight, so I think we're in for a treat.
What was the biggest problem against Munster, Stephen, and what work do you think will have been done this week to try and rectify that?
Well, I talked about Ulster getting off to a good start tonight. They didn't get off to a good start in Limerick. You know, Munster, once they got their noses in front, the small breaks, which tend to go the home side's way, it certainly did go their way, and they capitalised on that, scored some nice tries in the second half, a lot of kick passes. Andrew might touch on that at some stage, but you know, Munster were worthy winners. Were they 64-point worthy winners? I'm not so sure. You look at the possession stats, it was pretty 50-50. Just too many turnovers from Ulster, and they can't afford to do that tonight.
Score prediction from you, please?
I'm going to an Ulster sneaky win, maybe 5 or 6 points.
Andrew?
That's slightly more than a sneaky win. I'm going to go Ulster by 2 points.
Guys, thanks very much for your company. We'll see you again here. Kick-off is at the Kingspan at 7:35 this evening. Bye for now.
Interesting.
Slightly more than a sneaky win, 2 points.
Thanks for that, lads. Okay, a bit biased maybe, but Eddie, they'll be delighted to see Rory Best back in the team, won't they?
Well, like, people don't probably realise someone like Rory's experience and leadership, how important that is to a team. And when you run the field with someone like Rory, it sends us, there's a sense of calmness around the team. There's a guy in the field here who's going to be good under pressure. So he brings that to the team, and that'll be more to do with the training this week and the preparation. When he's on the field, he's got to play his own game, and of course there'll be salient moments when they're maybe on their own goal line or they're a great scoring opportunity. He'll focus them. But he's just got to get through the game as well tonight. He's come back from a long layoff, and you can't expect him to hit the straps at 100 miles an hour. But I think
he's been out for 5 months.
Yeah, it's a long time. But I think more than that, his presence alone is a calming influence on a team because he has that experience and that knowledge around the game.
But adding to that, remember now, Dan McFarland again, he's been handed his dealt. He's come in quite late into the organisation. So that relationship is of crucial importance, particularly the season that Ulster had last season. So getting those two guys together. And now Rory, when he plays, even if he only plays like 40 minutes, 60 minutes, he'll have hands-on experience. That can work in the positive relationship with Dan McFarland as well, because it's in theory so far for him. Now it's going to be real, and those messages can come back to, and that should influence maybe how the overall process is going over the coming weeks as well.
Yeah. And one other man he'd be delighted to see, Dan, he'll want to see Jacob Stockdale. He's delighted to have him back. Last year's Six Nations Player of the Year.
Well, it's a tougher one for Jacob because he's coming back and expectations huge around him. After a season like that,
massive, yeah,
it's impossible not to have that expectation, which brings its own pressures. And when you're on the wing, it's often hard to insert yourself in the game. You're waiting for opportunities. It's much easier in other positions to insert yourself. So what you'd like to see tonight is him looking for work, getting his hands on the ball, like inserting himself in the game as much as possible and as early as possible to get that feel around the game. But again, we know his ability as a finisher and as a striker, and tonight he could be the difference and decides if he hits the straps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully he does. OK, so those 3 matches are all starting at 7:35 tonight. Richard Cockrell's Edinburgh take on the Cheetahs in Murrayfield. Then top of Conference A, Glasgow entertain Michael Bradley's Zebra at Scottstown, while our game at the Kingspan Stadium sees Ulster tackle Connacht. Then tomorrow starts off with 2 massive Welsh derby games, with the Scarlets against the Ospreys and the Dragons welcome Cardiff Blues to Rodney Parade. Then the big one, Leinster are up against Munster at the Aviva Stadium in the biggest clash of the weekend. And then rounding it off, it is of course Benetton against Southern Kings to complete round 6. OK, time for a short break now. We'll be heading up to Belfast to get the thoughts of both head coaches when we come back.
That's good to go.
Epic possibilities await. Epic awaits. Get a free Samsung Galaxy S8, 40 gigs of data, free Air Sport Pack and unlimited calls and texts, all for just $44.99 a month with Air Mobile. Air. Let's make possible.
Collection use Super Value Real Rewards points when you pay your air bill. Earn 400 bonus points when you link your Real Rewards card to your My Air account. All things considered, it's Super Value.
The best men don't just look good on the outside. They take a good look inside. They let it out, hug it out. The best men aren't afraid of commitment, and they're always there when it counts. The best men make every challenge their Everest, but don't beat themselves up if they only make base camp. To the men who always give their best, we've given you our best quality blades for over 100 years. Because what you're made of makes a difference. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Cabinets of Charleville, come on, get behind the wheel. Cabinets of Charleville, you won't find a better deal. Cabinets of Charleville, we got all the cars you need. Cabinets of Charleville, satisfaction guaranteed. With quality that's hard to beat, we'll put you in the drive.
New location now open in Mallow.
Of Charleville, you won't find a better deal. Cabinets of Charleville.
Opportunity keeps knocking. The question is, will I make it, mine or drop it? My heart is pumping, my mind been pondering. It's everything or nothing. Yeah, I never did it for the mass appeal. Committed 10,000 hours trying to what my dreams are made of. And every night I didn't sleep is gonna pay off. For everyone that ever doubted me, they way off. Set ready, go for the takeoff.
If you want to play with me in Northern Ireland, you could try to qualify for the Open at Royal Portrush. Or there's an easier way.
It's the Tee Off Times by Golf Now Tee It Up with Rory sweepstakes, presented by TaylorMade, where you and a friend will play 3 unforgettable rounds.
Including one with me at Royal Portrush Golf Club.
Plus, you'll get geared up with the latest from TaylorMade. Enter for your chance to win at teeofftimes.co.uk/Rory.
Trust me, this is the easiest way to make it there.
Welcome back. About 20 minutes or so to kick off now as Ulster gets set to do battle with Connacht at the Kingspan Stadium. Let's check in now with Ulster head coach Dan McFarland, who'll be looking for a response after last weekend's dismal performance in Limerick.
Dan, unbeaten until last week, you then suffered your heaviest defeat in this competition. How difficult has it been to park that to one side and get on with the job tonight?
The job in professional rugby, Lauren, is all about taking stock from the weekend, looking at how you performed and making the necessary adjustments going forward. We were obviously really disappointed with last week, but we've had a good week in preparation. The lads have dug deep this week and we'll be looking to rectify that this weekend.
Some big name internationals back in the mix, Rory Best, Stockdale the most notable. How much impetus will they give this team?
Really good. Over the last 2 weeks, it's been a pleasure to have them in and around the training sessions. They give a real boost to the lads there and a raise in intensity. They're coming off the back of injuries, so getting them back into the team is great for us. Yeah.
These players will be aware we're a week up from Europe. Joe Schmidt about to announce his autumn squad. Do you feel that gives them a lot of extra motivation going into tonight's game?
To be honest, I don't think our players need any more motivation than the fact that they're wearing the Ulster jersey. It's as simple as that. They're all ambitious. Lots of them want to play for Ireland, and yes, that is an extra motivation, but I don't think they need any other motivation than representing their province.
Go well tonight. Thanks, Dan.
Very much.
OK, thanks for that. He's picked a strong side tonight, Liam, but you wanted to look at a few things from last weekend that I suppose you were impressed with, or maybe things that they got wrong.
Yeah, well, I think, you can look in, you can get bogged down in the overall scoreboard, but you can look into some of the detail. And here's off a scrum that there was a bit of a kick chase, but Peter Manny comes in, wins the ball, it wasn't his. Ian Henderson gets just above his shoulders, and that's Peter Manny, great play, but not so great from Henderson in a sense. Look at Scannell here, protecting his own player, and that wasn't happening from an Ulster point of view. The result of that, the Munster shouldn't have the ball at all. They got it, they kicked it away, they got it back, and then this is the ultimate. It was a fantastic feat from Hutton,
so
and then look, we've all seen this particular try, but the damage was done early on, and that's consistently. Now here, watch the shot clock. A brilliant time hang error of 4 seconds or so, but Earls catches no pressure at all, and straight away Ulster are back under pressure. And you can see, look at the resourcing, the Munster players. There was just no threat of losing that ball. I love this from Scannell, the hooker. Rides a big hit from Kane, the tight head prop, on his terms. If that was the other way around, the Ulster player was being knocked down. We see the gloriousness of player of Carberry's set, and this leads on ultimately to a missed hit, and Tommy O'Donnell, who won the previous stroke, great score. Those things can be fixed, of course they are. Now here, when you're 14 points down, where do you look at CJ Stander's already second-guessing where the ball's going? I think Ulster could have changed their tactic. They hand the ball back to Munster. CJ Stander, he can do this all day. And straight away, Ulster back under pressure, particularly from a quality halfback box kick that comes here. Earls chases it, and all of a sudden, Ulster thinking that they're doing something preordained, they're putting themselves back under pressure, and that's where the likes of Rory Best would come in. See this? They lose possession, and a leader of the quality of Rory Best, but this is a big one here. Look, if you watch, sorry Eddie, you watch Prop taking it in, look at Treadwell, watch it as it rolls on. He needs to resource that. His teammate has got smashed by 2 big tacklers, and Tommy O'Donnell and Kilcoyne, and if we had add up all of those things throughout the match,
it's like very passive. It's a passive performance.
Yeah.
In all those key contact areas, Liam showed us there, Ulster got beaten.
And it's something that Dan McFarland will be
yeah, well, it's kind of basic stuff you expect, that guys at least fight, and if you don't win the collision, you slow down the ball, but they got pushed around relentlessly.
But when you put Warwick up carrying the ball, and he's been double teamed, you need Treadwell just to abandon everything else. You need to resource your teammate, and he just missed. His technique was poor, but maybe he just didn't read it. They're lessons these guys will learn. They're lessons that Dan McFarland is going to hammer home, obviously, or they won't make it.
I think you'll have a lot more urgency tonight around that sort of stuff. You know, in front of the home crowd. That's really crucial.
I mean, listen, they'll be hoping not to have that this weekend, because I mean they can't. I mean, certainly with the likes of Rory Best back in, that they won't allow it. But let's go back as well to the team, because I mean, we just heard from Dan McFarland. He's picked John Cooney, who come off after 30 minutes. He's up against Marmion this weekend as well, which will be a massive battle, Eddie.
Well, it's a key battle for the scrum half berth at the moment. Now, with Conor Murray injured, things open up here. But having said that, there's 3 scrum halves playing Murray. There's Cooney, obviously, Marmion, and also you've got in Leinster
McGrath as well.
McGrath. So at the moment they're jockeying for position, and Cooney, to be fair, has put the most pressure on. Like, he's come out of nowhere. He moved to us last season, his game has improved, he's become a leader in Ulster, and suddenly there's pressure to put him inside that slot. Now, if he outshines Marmion tonight, he's made his case to Joe Schmidt.
But in outshining him, he should be ruthless with the likes of Treadwell and say, hang on a second, I'm not accepting that, because he's the quarterback now. So if his pack in front of him aren't dominating, that gives nod to Marmion, because then Marmion has the advantage.
Absolutely.
If whichever pack goes forward,
well,
the scrum half, whatever relative pack goes forward, that scrum half is going to benefit.
That's what Joe Schmidt will be looking for, absolutely. OK, now let's hear from Connacht head coach Andy Friend, who'll want to end a run of 4 consecutive defeats on the road.
Andy, you come into this off the back of a defeat to Leinster, but you more than matched them on occasion. So is tonight a case of more the same, but hopefully against a defence that's easier to crack?
Yeah, listen, that blue wall was pretty hard to crack last weekend. What's really important for us, it's a 6-day turnaround. We get the energy that we had there at the sports ground last weekend. So we've been talking about that all week, and we know that Ulster is going to be a tough team to crack tonight.
Something else that's come up all week is that stat that you'll be aware of. Connacht haven't won in Belfast since 1960. That said, it's your first crack at it, so are you the man to inspire a victory tonight?
I hope so. I hope we're sitting here after the game talking about that. Yeah, it's an incredible stat, but all statistics are meant to be broken, so hopefully we break that tonight.
You've had a brief taste of an Inter-Pro derby. How do they compare to what you're used to in Australia, and what are you expecting from it this evening?
Yeah, listen, it is different rugby. I love the passion, though. I love the passion of the Inter-Pros and the way the crowd gets behind their own team. So we're not at home tonight. I know we've got a few Connacht fans here, but there'll be a lot more Ulster fans, and we'll make sure we just focus on our job and shut that noise out.
Enjoy your night at the Kingspan. Thanks, Andy.
Appreciate it.
OK, interesting to hear. I mean, I suppose he looks a bit stressed there. Obviously, it's been a tough week for Connacht with the red card last weekend from Robertson McCoy. I mean, let's have a quick look at it now, Eddie. I mean, what was your impression? Certainly only 6 weeks ban. Well, it's lenient.
It's a red card every day of the week, but I was a bit shocked at 6 weeks, because the message you send with that is that it's not seen as a major incident. I would have thought he was looking at 12 weeks, and I know it was 12 and then it was reduced, but like, it doesn't make any sense. I think that sends a wrong message, a very short penalty like that.
What do you think? You mentioned at the start of the show, Tommy, about the time I was playing in the black and white. Like, that was actually, I won't say par for the course. That's gone out of the game, and it's a good thing. Yeah, I believe rucking should be brought back in, because I think the player won't be as vulnerable, but that's absolutely outrageous.
But when you get these isolated incidents, which they are isolated, and rightly so, the penalty has to fit the crime, and 6 weeks does not fit that. I mean, it was a reckless thing to do. If Josh Van der Fleer didn't have a scrum cap, it could have been even more serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just think they've got to send the right message, and that wasn't particularly the right message as far as I'm concerned. And people won't be happy with that, but I think it was a much tougher sentence required there.
No, of course, right. And then looking forward to tonight as well, though, Eddie.
Yeah.
I mean, you wanted to look at Connacht, and I mean, I suppose they are playing good rugby, but you want to see what they need to do to try and get a win tonight.
Well, there's a couple of things they've got to do. They've got to fix their outside channels, where Leinster had them in all sorts of trouble last week in the first half. And you see here, Connacht had 3 defenders, Ulster 5 attackers. And when that ball goes, they're round the corner, and Lowe then is a 1-on-1, and he bounces Tiernan O'Halloran, and they're like, that sort of space kills, you know. Luckily, they threw it away, Leinster. Same here again, watch. Again, if you look at the numbers out wide, 4 attackers out wide, 2 defenders, plus someone in the backfield, huge space. And again, you know, James Lowe guilty of throwing the ball away again here. That was another opportunity. And then even here, on a short side, you can't give up these simple, that's practically a 2-on-1 there, a 3-on-2.
Much width all the time.
Yeah, much width, and all the time Connacht got out of jail on those. Now, here is their penetration from the set piece. They take it up, they win the first gain line, they win the second gain line pretty well. But if you look now, phase 11, they're pretty much back where they started. And this was the occasions they took on Leinster. You're at phase 19 now, and they haven't crossed the 22 yet. That's a mountain of work for very little return. And the turnover there, they're massive psychological moments for Leinster. You see it here again. There's the gain line. The 22 is the gain line. A great penetration on the first strike. Eddie O'Loughlin is right in behind the defence. But again, if you look at the ruck counter or the face counter at the top here, you know, they're right up to the 5 metre here. On 2 rucks up to the 5 metre. We'll go back to phase 17.
Leinster are putting no one in those
No,
rucks really either.
and they're driving, they're winning the collisions again here. And finally, they turn over the ball back where they started on the 22. 19 phases. That's lung-busting work and going nowhere. They've got to find a way to penetrate defences. It's work ethic, and they have work ethic. Keeping the ball in hand is great, but there has to be an outcome to it.
Yeah, OK, right. Thanks for that, guys. OK, there's more Interpro action tomorrow. We're live at the Aviva Stadium from 5 o'clock for the biggest battle in Irish rugby as Leinster take on Munster. And we'll look back at all this week's action in the Pro 14 Hour. That's on Wednesday night at 9 with Conor Morris and Murray Kinsella. OK, time for a quick break. We'll be back with kick-off in a few minutes.
Epic awaits. Transform your world with Air. Sign up today and get totally unlimited super-fast fibre broadband plus free Air Sport and BT Sport for just $39.99 a month. And all on a 12-month contract. Air. Let's make possible.
Whichever skier you are, Crystal Ski has a holiday to suit you. See crystalski.ie.
The greatest show on earth, KSW, returns to London. Watch the infamous Popek Monster facing off against the superstar bodybuilder Erko Jean. as well as some of the best British fighters, including UK's #1 middleweight Scott Askham, hard-hitting kickboxer James McSweeney, and reigning KSW heavyweight champion Phil de Vries, defending his title against former title holder Karel Bedolf. KSW 45, October 6th, the SSE Arena, Wembley. Tickets available on AXS.com.
At Bruce Betting, we're giving you more. Whether you bet on our website, iOS app, or via our new Android app, Bruce Betting have all your betting needs covered. Packed with features and easy to use, the new Bruce Betting app includes active insurance, cash out, and live casino. Bruce Betting, giving you more. In store, online, and now on your phone.
I think about only belt. I don't care who's my opponent. Who wins this fight becomes a real lightweight champion. I want what I deserve, what I've earned. Now war is upon us.
Oh! He slapped him!
I want to change his face.
Surprise, surprise, the king is back!
Okay, welcome back. Not long until kick-off in Belfast. Okay, Liam, give us, are there any key battles, particularly before kick-off, you're looking forward to?
I think the battle for Ulster's themselves, and I think the second row of Connor and Henderson in the engine room, and at number 8, I think Coetze is coming back, is a big addition. So the physicality, they need to really stamp up. And when it's not working out, as you were talking about Connacht, those 3 guys need to step up to the plate and do something big in many, many ways. There's lots of other technical stuff around it, but I think for Ulster tonight, that's the engine room they really need to get right, because all the other stuff, like Stockton, etc.
It's been the area of their game that's let them down before. It's up front, like a dominating teams up front.
Well, I think Coetzee could be the difference tonight.
Totally, yeah.
Eddie, anybody you're looking out for?
Well, interesting one for me is the 212s. I mean, McCluskey and Bundyaki. Obviously, Bundyaki is talisman for Connacht in the midfield, the guy that makes things happen. But fairly enough, strange enough for me, McCluskey's very similar. Like, he's done huge things in terms of creating line breaks and offloads. So those two going head-to-head for me are going to be pay-per-view.
Yeah, OK, right. Thanks, lads. Time now to hand you over to our commentators at the Kingspan, Andrew Trimble, Stephen Ferris, alongside Mark Robson.
Mitigating circumstances last week, but nevertheless the mother of all Fulham thumpings for Ulster and Limerick. Meanwhile, Connacht battered hard at Leinster, but were simply beaten on the day by a superior force. So now the Irish derbies continue here in Belfast. The last time Connacht won here was the year the USA entered the Vietnam War, 1960. Yes, 58 years ago, and tonight they face a chastened and wounded Ulster side looking to find the rails again after making a productive start to the season. Well, Connacht, like Ulster, have a new coach in Andy Friend. The Kieran Keane season was fractious and fractured, but already this season there are signs of light and indications that elements of their game are improving. Pragmatism and panache. The plan looks clearer, a structure appearing, and it looks like the players are buying into it. But that's the outside peering in. What can the inside do looking out? No diluted away team here. Connacht fully loaded. Tom McCartney comes into the front row, and club captain Jared Butler returns after injury, while Paul Boyle, who's been top-notch this season, returns to the number 8 slot. In the back line, Jack Carty has been really good so far. And that midfield of Aki and Farrell is an exciting blend of power and offload. And what a back three. Punch and pace ripples through it. Well, in Munster, were Ulster tired after their 2 game South African trip, which included a 5-day turnaround? Maybe, maybe not. Ulster were certainly weakened through injuries, 14 in total, including 8 internationals. Ulster also lost Cooney and Henderson during the first half. Not excuses, just context and a perspective. The Ulster team and the return of Rory Best is great news, as is the recovery of Ian Henderson after his early departure with concussion last week, and Marcel Coetzee, who had a shoulder injury. In the back line, Jacob Stockdale returns, and what a test for young Angus Curtis in the 13 shirt. Not a position he is familiar with. John Cooney plays despite a patchwork of lacerations on his head. And the referee is Andrew Brace. TMO tonight is Ollie Hodges. Well, the Beatles were just hitting the scene and changing the world of pop when Connacht last won in this stadium. Will Ulster go pop tonight? In 1960, the score was 6-3, a cracker apparently. Remarkably, it was Connacht's 4th win in a row in Belfast. And in the intervening 58 years, diddly squat. What will happen this evening? And up goes Ian Henderson with a clean take for Ulster at the kick-off. Andy Warwick in his 101st appearance for Ulster in possession. The loosehead is 100th down in Thomond Park. Not a result or performance that many Ulstermen will remember with any fondness whatsoever. And what sort of response do you expect from this Ulster side tonight, Andrew Trimble and Stephen Ferris?
Tracy, there's an injury to the Connacht 9, but
first of all, to be honest, I'd be expecting the same response that Munster got after their defeat away in Cardiff. That would have been a tough week's training for Munster. They had long, hard conversations with each other. They beat each other up in training, and then they produced a big performance the weekend, and we've been expecting a similar backlash from Ulster.
It's very interesting. Very interesting to see straight away Connacht into this game. A bad outcome for Ulster. They gather. Billy Burns kicks it to touch. This is exactly what Connacht want here. Get into the game early. Last week they got dominated in the last quarter by Leinster. Yes, they had a good result against Scarlets the week before, but they're coming to Belfast tonight. They get a victory.
Well, not a great sight straight away to see Kieran Marmion sitting down in the in-goal area, and that was one of the battles we were all looking forward to, is Kieran Marmion against John Cooney, with Conor Murray currently out injured with that mystery condition. It was Marmion and maybe Cooney, one of the two, who might well start in those November internationals coming up. Joe Schmidt announcing his squad very soon. And if he's twisted his ankle, well, that might be the end of his match tonight. He's certainly going to try and run it off, soldier on with it. But not what you want after 40 seconds.
Good gap then, boys.
Of a feisty, fiery interprovincial is an early injury, and he's such a key player for this Connacht side as well. Up goes Sean O'Brien, and Marmion does not look good at all. He was hobbling straight away there. Surely he can't last long with that injury. And he's down again, Marmion, and he is moving very gingerly indeed. He's out of the action. And look at Ulster counter-rucking there, driving in hard at that breakdown. Ulster's breakdown work this season has not been of the highest quality. You could certainly argue that. Here is Quinn Roux, South African-born Irish international, into contact. Marmion doing his best to play on. He is in serious trouble. Will they find some width here early on, this Connacht side? Remember, Adia Loken and Matt Healy, Tiernan O'Halloran, that back three. And that was the back three that won this championship in 2016. But winning that ball at the breakdown was Ulster there, and that was superb work in contact.
All the chat and the build-up to this game was about the Connacht back row and their ability to win turnovers. Look at Nick Timoney here, just pounces on it, wins that space. Just about holds up his body weight and gets the turnover.
That's exactly what you want your back row doing. Get up, win the collision. Matty Ray have been slightly disappointed by him this season. He needed a bright start to this game. He's given us that. And then over the ball, penalty, Ulster now on the attack.
Just wait, fellas.
Well, there's Caelan Blade, and as we suspected, Kieran Marmion was not going to last very long. Looked like he twisted his ankle in the first 30 seconds there.
Okay, Connacht, open up for me.
It's not good news for
Right
Joe
out.
Schmidt, is it?
In
I
you
know
come,
it's early
Ulster.
October, it's quite a long time until
Wait,
those November
Sean.
internationals kicks in, but Marmion and Murray now, 2 of his 9s out of action.
Might be good news for John Cooney.
There he goes.
Okay.
Kieran Marmion
Stay in the 15, captain.
is on the bench
Time back on.
3 times for the
Just wait until the line-out's over, yeah?
Grand Slam winning side. Very
Right.
much Conor Murray's number 2 in that Six Nations campaign. And here is Cooney, and Billy Burns flat on the line. Alan O'Connor carried really well last week against Munster. 18 carries, huge shift in defeat by O'Connor.
Stay there.
It's Connacht's attempt this
Stay
time
there.
to try and counter-ruck themselves. And it's
Contest
John
was
Cooney who
good.
goes in there. He's got a 9-stitch laceration and a 5-stitch laceration cross-roading across his skull. So wearing the scrum cap
stay
today.
here.
Ian Henderson carries hard. John Cooney again to Billy Burns. Now Tom O'Toole, another player who carried really well last week. 7 powerful surges forward from Tom O'Toole against Munster. Here's a player who can really surge forward for Ulster. Stuart McCluskey. Billy Gurns of end flat. Here is Jacob Stockdale. He flicks it inside looking for Nelson. And he was well marshalled across into touch by that Connacht defence. But Ulster in this first 3 minutes showing plenty of danger.
Understand?
Yeah, there's a lot of line speed coming Ulster's way. It's a great starter.
Good
Just
gap,
gets
Ulster.
Jacob into the game, into a little bit of space, and then Ulster getting into their phase play. Quick throw line out from Connacht here.
Yeah, and they found Jared Butler with that throw. The captain back into the side
Early
after
9.
injury. Connacht winning the penalty.
Early.
Ulster offside, giving away the penalty. Connacht gave a lot of penalties away last week, 15 against Leinster. And in their last
9
away
offside.
game, they gave away 18 in Edinburgh.
They just can't let them off the hook that easy, Robbo. You know, that's just schoolboy stuff there. Now Connacht can clear their line, set up an attack and get themselves back into this game. Kieran Marmion's a huge loss, but Keelan Blake coming on. He's a very, very dangerous player, so he might get this Connacht team going forward.
Well, Connacht last one here, 1960, as I say, a long
open up,
time
Ulster.
ago. That
On your
year,
front man.
Cassius Clay
On
won
your
his
front man.
first pro fight. JFK was elected the USA president, and the world watched the first episode of The Flintstones. Yabba dabba doo.
Done a bit of homework for this game, Robbo.
Of course, as will have Bundy Akey. Such a strong carrying game in his return against the Scarlets when he clearly targeted Rhys Patchell, who was just back in that Scarlets team having suffered from concussion. So no mercy from Bundy in that game.
Off the
Boot
Connacht
comes
leg.
in. Here's McCluskey again, top carrier in the Pro 14 last season. He's been carrying consistently this season, but that offload not sticking to an Ulster hand.
That's offload number 11 this season, Robbo, and unfortunately this one just goes into touch, but good enterprise by Ulster on the turnover.
Let's get a good gap though, boys, on your front man, please.
But unfortunately, it's back Connacht ball on the halfway line.
Just off the leg.
McCluskey alongside Angus Curtis in midfield tonight. Speaking to Jared Payne at the captain's run, he was saying they will switch positions in defence because Angus Curtis has virtually no game time as a 13, and Connacht might expose that channel. Here is Healy, and he draws the defence. Here's O'Halloran. I told you about the danger of this Connacht back three, and that is a Derby Day delicacy from Connacht.
Yeah, he'll check that. Anyway, he's always checking.
Yeah, lovely starter off the line out. I think that Connacht back three are just saying, you know what, this is how we did it a couple of years ago when we were in the middle of everything that was positive about Connacht rugby. This is how we did it. We got our tails up when we scored tries. That starter was lovely. It was a lovely little wrap around, and they just kept the Ulster defence just sitting off them, and they gave them a little bit too much space, and Matt Healy burnt them on the outside.
Wow, Matt Healy, we talked about this guy before. That 2016 final where he ran the show, he was unbelievable, and he's shown considerable wheels there this evening. What a player he is. Connacht now 5 points up. If they send us over 7 points, I think there's another injury here, Robbo.
Yeah, it's Tiernan O'Halloran who is down injured, having scored the try, but the referee wants another look at this.
We'll get a better angle for you, Bracey.
Matt Healy just spearing his way through that Ulster defence. Doesn't seem any problem at all with the grounding.
Okay, this pass here, Bracey, and watch 13 go on.
Is there a block in midfield? That's what I think Ollie
You getting
Hodges
that
is
footage,
looking
Bracey?
at. Stuart McCluskey is certainly claiming.
This is kind of looking like a conversation we had earlier on, Robbo, about that short line coming and just getting in the way. I'd like to see it again just to see if he's in a legitimate place to catch the pass. The front door option.
Have a look at this angle first, Bracey.
He is, although he just deviates outside a little bit to block Stuart McCluskey.
Has he stopped McCluskey making a tackle?
It's one of those ones where if you're the attacking team, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If you're the defending team, you'll be looking for the penalty. I think Stuart McCluskey's just got a little bit tight on a small bump. He'll be disappointed he didn't get out to him, but this could easily go Ulster's way for a penalty. And it hasn't.
Well, he was certainly shepherded away from the ball, McCluskey, but the referee deciding that McCluskey, I presume, would not have been able to make that tackle, but that's bad news. O'Halloran scoring his 25th Pro 14 or Celtic League try and getting himself injured in the process. The second injury of the game so far for Connacht. Two key men as well in Marmion and their fullback. And by his body language and expression, it doesn't look as if it's too good, does it? And here's Jack Carty, 19 from 24 this season. 14 points against Ulster last December, and a try here a couple of years ago. Has been in superb form this season. His understanding of the geography of a rugby pitch, his positional play has been superb, very Eric Elwood-esque, and his goal kicking on a very still, crisp night here at the Kingspan is excellent too, on the evidence of his start.
Real intent there from Connacht. They're here to play, and they're here to play with width, pace, and they're here to stretch this Ulster defence. It's a lovely wee wraparound from Jared Butler just to create a bit of space on the outside as well.
Beautiful the way Healy just pulled infield to create a bit more space on the outside for O'Halloran. And here is Rory Best, Ireland's Grand Slam captain. John Cooney to Billy Burns and Angus Curtis in that number 13 shirt. Started at 12 last week. Can play 10, 2 of course, and out half. Played at 12 in the Under-20 Championships, the Six Nations last season. Here is Marcel Coetzee, and up quickly in defence is Tom Farrell. It's a very neat and tidy partnership in midfield for Connacht with Farrell and Bundy Aki. The power of Aki and the offloading game of Farrell seem to complement each other. Cooney, carry from Matty Ray. Ian Henderson, good carry by Henderson, fighting for every inch. That's one of the Ulster mottos this season. Burns for Peter Nelson. Called in late for both of the games on the short South African tour. Billy Burns once more, and it's Coetzee who's chasing after this, as is Jacob Stockdale, testing that hamstring that he did some damage to in August. Jacob Stockdale, Ulster win the penalty at the breakdown, and at last this Kingspan crowd gets a chance to cheer.
That's nice from Billy Burns. Ulster have gone through plenty of phases there, and they're getting a little bit of joy, but they're just not quite getting as much go forward as they would like. Billy Burns decides, you know what, I'm going to change it up here. Kane Kelleher's in the backfield, and he's maybe a little bit narrow. Adi Lucan's a little bit flat, and he just puts it in behind and makes there's a little bit of indecision, and they get the penalty.
This is a trait in Ulster's play over the last number of years, that they kick to the corner when they feel they got a team under pressure. Rory Best made the decision. I tell you what, Andre, it's a bruising encounter. The impacts that are happening here tonight, Connacht are getting off the line and absolutely smashing everything, and I totally agree with you there. Billy Burns with that kick in behind was definitely the right call.
I think that's a perfect illustration of what Ulster need to do to get a foothold in this game. If they try and match Connacht blow for blow, those one-pass plays, they're going to get smacked, and there's going to be a lot of sore bodies in the morning. They need to look at those tip-ons. Ulster, in the first couple of games of the season, they were making a lot of offloads, going out the back. Just keep this defence thinking, and that was a good example there from Billy Burns.
On the line's good. On the line's good. Time on. You step off, Ulster.
7 starts for Ulster last season.
Boys,
missed the Australian tour.
You stay on the AR.
1-2-1.
You stay there, Connacht.
The first 5
1
games
metre
of this season. in his 209th appearance for his province. 14 years at Ulster now, Rory Best. Can he find his man here? He can. And it's Ian Henderson calling the line outs.
Keep it up!
Rory Best in possession. How many tries has he scored from positions like this for Ulster? And indeed for Ireland. Here goes Alan O'Connor, the pugnacious Alan O'Connor.
Release now, one!
Always fills that Ulster shirt. Off goes the Yeti power of Marcel Coetzee. Connacht working really hard to try and slow that ball down so they can get their defence reset. Sean O'Brien comes out to make the tackle. Here is John Cooney, here's McCluskey. Burns now looks for Peter Nelson. Bit of space for Peter Nelson, scrambling back there is Cian Kelleher. Another player off the bench for Connacht. Tom O'Toole is smashed back there. Great defence by the men from the west.
Quicker.
Cooney tries the dummy, but the guard defence was wise to that. Dennis Buckley making the tackle around the fringes.
Stay here, Connacht.
So Ulster keeping it tight here, using those heavyweight HGVs.
The first action straight to floor, denying the contest.
But Ulster come flopping in off their feet there. Andrew Brace gives the penalty against Ulster in a very promising position. Such frustration.
No way.
5 players on the back.
We highlighted him before the game. The man, Sean O'Brien, he's just flying off the line. Every single impact, he's putting 100% into it. I'm really impressed with this physicality from the Connacht team, defending their line with absolutely everything. Ulster knocking on the door. Unfortunately, they give away a penalty, and Connacht are off the hook once again.
Both teams are really muscling up well.
Good on you.
Looks, who is it? Is it Tom O'Toole? Just comes off his feet.
In you come, then. In you come.
It's a wee bit of a tricky penalty to see exactly who's coming off their feet there.
Former Auckland Blue, Tom McCartney, 33 years of age, a lot of experience, and needed some help there from the Canberra-born Finlay Bealham, another Irish international in this Connacht side. Bealham with 7 caps, but he's been a bit of a penalty machine this season, Bealham.
Take him back.
Here is Jack Carty. And in the full-back position is Peter Nelson. Still no Will Addison. Suffered from the lurgy in South Africa and now he's picked up a back injury.
Stay blue!
So no sign of the former Sailman just yet.
Okay, boys, no, listen to me. The ball's stuck in the jersey, so you're not going to get a penalty for that. We're going to go scrum down white ball, all right? Yeah, but the ball's in the jersey, mate, all right? So
Pete Nelson's got off the hook there because the ball got tangled in his jersey. Yeah. Tom Farrell is absolutely throwing his weight around here. And then Bundy Aki comes in, and whenever you're getting manhandled by Tom Farrell, you're going, please, Bundy Aki, stay back, please, don't get involved.
Yeah, time off.
That's a mess. And I think the ref's given Ulster the benefit of the doubt there.
Doyle Boyle getting some attention there. Yeah, 1967 7-0 to win it. Can they bridge that 58-year gap? Some dodgy and not so dodgy blokes were born in 1960, like Maradona, Gary Lineker, Bono, Kenneth Branagh, Richie Ramirez and Jeffrey Dahmer. It was a good year for serial killers.
I've spoken to him.
It's very difficult to follow up on some of your comments, Rob. I enjoy listening to them, but it stresses me out thinking of what to say next.
I think we might make an early exit tonight, Andrew.
Big night for Dan McFarland because he, of course, is a former Connacht player and was a member of the Connacht coaching staff as well. He would love to put one over on his former side. Dan McFarland coming into the job late, just 12 days before the start of the season, being released by the Scottish Rugby Union.
He did a very good job there of pretending he didn't see himself on the big screen as well.
Balance.
Yeah, I was talking to Dan at the captain's run as well, as to Jared Payne. He was talking about individual evolution amongst the players and trying to work on their individual development, as well as the team structures, obviously, and the style of play that Dan McFarland will try to bring to this Ulster side. Very much, you could say the same about Andy Friend, and that was a really good scrummage there from Connacht. They won 3 scrum penalties against Leinster last week, and they've won 1 here now. And these Irish derbies, there is always a little bit of fractiousness about them. You'd expect that.
Well, first scrum, you know, they probably talked about it in the change rooms before the game. As soon as they get an opportunity to go against this Ulster team, Tom O'Toole, he's a brilliant athlete. He's great around the park. His scrummaging has been questioned. You think of that Edinburgh game that he played away in, and you know that's something that they're going to target. Scrum after scrum after scrum. Look at that. That's just too easy for Connacht.
And it's a great follow-up as well, because Jack Carty's kick into the corner is absolutely pinpoint.
Ulster's maul defence is really going to get tested here. We spoke about it in the warm-up to the game. Let's see what they're made of.
Tom McCartney with the throw to Sean O'Brien at the front, and Ulster have been steamrolled over the line from driving mauls on more than one occasion this season. It's been a real weakness.
Onside, White.
But Ulster got in there really early to bring it down. You wonder what influence Ian Henderson and Rory Best will have in that department this evening.
No tackler.
Here is Dennis Buckley. And is that a little bit high there for Marcel Coetzee? Looked around the neck, and referees are supposed to be very firm in that area.
Keep your feet.
It's one of the heavily applied directives.
Yeah, mate.
Ulster have to sort out their defence here, and here goes Jack Carty. Ulster come flying out of the line through Jacob Stockdale. Then he twists and turns and tries to get over that ball.
Wait, you're okay, 11? No advantage. High tackle 8. And
the referee has in fact gone back for that high tackle against Marcel Coetzee. I suspected that he might.
Andrew Brace didn't put his arm up there. It looked like he'd missed it. I think we were all looking at each other thinking Ulster have got away with that. Yeah, that's definitely a little bit high, all right. Jacob Stockdale does a really good job reading the change of play. Jack Carthy switches to the short side, and Jacob knows, and he gets up and shuts it down.
Interesting, Stephen, they've gone for the scrummage again here, feeling they might have an advantage in this department against Ulster.
Oh, this is huge, absolutely huge. What a moment in this match. If Connacht can get a push over here, get another penalty, force another scrum, seed more doubt into this Ulster team's head, this is a huge moment.
Approach! Bind!
Connacht just one away win against another Irish province in 16 years. That was at Munster in 2015, but they made a good start here. And here comes the drive again for Connacht, and it's got to be another penalty for Connacht at the scrum. And Ulster look to be crumbling in that department. And that is not looking optimistic for the home side. It's looking very optimistic for the visitors.
This Connacht front row is really showing off at this stage. They look so physical, they look so dominant.
Guys, let's go.
Well, they've got three beasts in the front row, and I remember Joe Schmidt in the past, Stephen, picking Quinn Roux in the second row for Ireland because of his scrummaging ability.
Well, he's roughly around 120 kgs. You know, having a man like that behind you is definitely going to give you a bit more power behind the prop. Andy Work just gets caught slightly, goes to the ground. His backside comes out a bit as well, and Finlay Bealham takes advantage of it. Ulster in trouble here for me at the minute.
Okay, just because I go on this side, we're not going to start messing around there. It was really good, the first two scrums. Same again, please, on the setup.
But then, Robbo, you flip the coin over, and you've got Ian Henderson, who's just as big a man.
Wait for me.
In behind young Tom O'Toole, you can see he's packing down on the tight head side. So
both of you.
I think the props are just doing a really good job here for Connacht.
Balance behind. Approach. Bind.
Connacht Academy scrum half, Caelan Blade.
Set. Stay ball.
A very accomplished replacement for Kieran Marmee, and judging by his form this season. Here comes the surge again by Connacht. Here comes the arm from Andrew Brace. And it's only a penalty. I wondered just for a second, would he have considered the penalty try? And why didn't he play the advantage there? Paul Boyle picked the ball up. Could he not have flopped over? Was there another infringement?
Dead straight, and he's
I think there was another infringement. I think Ulster have got off the hook once again.
Let's go.
Just let's go back to call another scrum. Should have picked it up. Paul Boyle should have picked this up as soon as it started wheeling. The back row for Ulster here, trying their very best to give everything to their props. Should have picked it up there, and it was a walk-in.
But why is there no advantage?
Let's go, boys.
You know, why is he stopped play and not allowed Paul Boyle to play on there?
Stay on it. Stay honest for me now here. Okay, let's go.
I have no idea, Robbo.
Nice and straight. Balance again, boys.
Does sometimes seem to be a default setting of referees. Once they've given the penalty at scrum time, they can be very quick to blow the whistle and not allow that advantage to run through.
Okay, same mark. You turn your head on him, it's going to be a free kick, okay? Stay in the gap. Keep your head in the slots. Let's go. That's why I pointed to both of them. Let's go.
I think one thing maybe in the referee's head, the referees never really like giving penalty tries or giving an easy walk-in like that when it comes to scrum time. So maybe it's just in the back of the referee's head that, you know, scrum after scrum, he just doesn't want to give an easy one. But it might come now.
Down far side. Just step to me, boys, over here.
Just having to move the scrummage across, and
let's go.
Gosh, Tom O'Toole, it's a big
left
night for him
here.
now. Just turned 20 years of age, youngster at tight head, Ulster, with their injury problems there, with Vian Herbst undergoing surgery and Marty Moore still suffering with a calf injury.
Balance. Seconds. Hold it. Crouch. Bind.
Another free kick to Connacht, and how much patience will Andrew Brace have here? He's spent a long time now here.
Captain, there's no issue
on the Ulster line
from them. Okay, if it is, trust me to deal with that. Okay.
But that, it's too big a scrum for me to.
Okay, we'll come a little bit closer then. All right, there's no issue with the weight transference for me.
In terms of talking to the referee, there's no man with more experience.
Next one's not a reset,
in terms
guys.
of dealing with that than Rory Best. Captain of Ireland and Ulster has captained the midweek Lions as well.
Discipline, boys.
You heard there, guys. The next one won't be a penalty, so
Crouch.
If Connacht get the move here, it's definitely going to have to be a penalty try.
Bind. Set and stay up.
Such a huge scrum this for Connacht. And such a huge scrum this for Ulster. Can they resist? Boyle looking to control here, and that scrum is wheeling round. If it's another penalty, it will be a penalty try. And Andrew Brace walks between the posts for an automatic 7-pointer to Connacht, and they pulverised Ulster there, and they are fully deserving of the result they get.
It felt a little bit inevitable probably for the last 3 or 4 minutes, five minutes maybe. I don't know, 3 or 4 scrums, and Connacht were in the ascendancy the whole time. Looked like that try was inevitable. I'd say Ulster are keen to get a bit more pace back in the game and play with a bit of width and try and test this Ulster defence, get back in the game.
So Billy Burns with the restart. A lot of work here for Ulster to do. Remember, last week Ulster suffering a record defeat at Thomond Park, conceding 64 points.
Didn't survive
and 9 tries down in Limerick. Just scoring the 1 try themselves through Darren Cave. And the last time Ulster played Connacht away from home at the Sports Ground, they conceded 44 points. So they have a little bit of scar tissue against Connacht. Certainly scar tissue from last week against Munster by the looks of things. Peter Nelson takes the ball, and here is John Cooney, and it's Tom O'Toole with the carry, trying to get himself as heavily involved in this game as he can. Cooney for Burns, that fired flat pass again that he's becoming such a specialist at. Burns once more, and it's Curtis on the outside to Kernahan, and look at that Connacht defence. It has been pumped up in this opening 20 minutes. Carry from Timoney.
Yep.
Cooney for Burns. Andrew Warwick with the carry. Again into heavy traffic. This Connacht defence looks well set. It looks well organised. Here's Peter Nelson. Again, that might have been a little bit high, slipping up around the neck area in contact. Ian Henderson to Burns. Now Angus Curtis.
Nah, stepped away, play on. Advantage if you want.
Not a great pass. Billy Burns looking to recover, pops the ball into space. And the referee brings them back for that penalty advantage. And while I have time, apologies to anybody who was offended by my references to serial killers.
Perfect. Good, John. High.
Well, that was high, a fair enough call, Andrew.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
We'll play.
I suppose whenever you compare it to the one on Ulster's line, it looks a little bit more tame. But a high tackle's a high tackle. There's probably not as much force in that one, but it's definitely a penalty anyway.
Billy Burns into touch.
Come off. It's a lifter though.
Angus Kernahan
Can't do anything.
really dumped there, but seemed to come down relatively safely. If you can come down relatively safely in a collision like that. And Connacht are certainly putting in those collisions.
If you're ready, let's go. Come on.
They've been fantastic tonight. The real joy to watch in defence. You just look at the Ulster attack. It's Andy Warwick taking the ball up, Tom O'Toole taking the ball up. We want to see Marcel Coetzee running over people. And yes, in the first 10 minutes of the match, he had his hands on the ball quite a bit. But we need to get the likes of Matty Ray's hands on the ball, get the team going forward. We don't want the props. The props have enough to worry about when it comes to scrummaging.
111 caps for Rory Best.
9, back 10, 9, 9. Okay, come in then.
They've been here before, Ulster. They go to the front this time, and the Ulster white jerseys wrap around at the tail of that.
Sack is good.
As always, is Rory Best. The sack is good, says the referee. So Connacht have timed that really well.
Sack was good.
So Rory Best has to go wide through Stuart McCluskey. Exceptional ball carrier for this Ulster side, and then Rory Best, good work rate, folding around for Cooney. Again, it's good defence by Connacht. It's Tom McCartney who makes the tackle this time. Get the ball to Coetzee if you can. Oh, it's been ripped away by Bundyaki to Butler. Oh, and Nelson almost intercepts as the ball was heading towards the arms of Matt Healy.
Last feet, Blue. Last feet.
Ulster have got it back through Cooney. Here's Henderson. Thought about pulling the ball back.
Blue.
Hugs the ball into his breast. Here is Billy Burns looking for Stockdale. Oh, off the fingertips of Stockdale recovers to score for Ulster. Well, he showed amazing gymnastic, athletic skill there, Stockdale. Has he done enough to get the try there?
Okay, time off. We're just going to check. We're just going to check. Ollie, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Bracey.
Yeah, happy with the ground and all. Just want to check to see if the foot was in the dead ball line.
Okay, we'll put the footage on for you now.
Any reason I can't award that try, please?
20 tries last season, Jacob Stockdale.
No, it was a knock-on. It was a knock-on by you.
For Ireland and Ulster in all competitions. What weight there was on that kick by Burns. Oh, did Stockdale stay in touch there, or has he just put his foot on the white line? Let's take a look. There. Is he in play?
Best this angle we're going to see. A little bit more. Oh, there's a bit of green. The other side of his foot. I think that's okay.
Go ahead.
He is in the field of play when he takes possession of the ball, so there's no problem with awarding the try.
Try is good.
Yes.
Try is good, Captain.
Yep. And Jacob continues to do what he does best, and that's score tries.
It's a try for the 2018 Six Nations Player of the Tournament. 7 tries in the Six Nations last season. 11 tries for Ireland, and adding another one to his Ulster tally. And what a finish it was. You must have appreciated that, Mr. Trimble, as a winger.
Yeah, Jacob's all show business now after a great season last year. Has he got a little bit of colour in his hair there, Stevie?
I think he's taken after you, Trimby, after all those years.
No, not in our day. Not in our day. No, Jacob, rightly so, he plays with a lot of confidence, because if he gets a scrap, if he gets a sniff at all, he gets over the line. He's got just the knack of scoring tries, and I think we saw there the benefit of Billy Burns just changing things up a little bit. If they get into an arm wrestle with this Connacht side, they're going to come off second best by the looks of it. Billy Burns changed it up, and we got a 5-pointer.
John Cooney, he's been very accurate this season. Remember, he's landed 2 late penalties to beat Scarlets in Edinburgh. The former Connacht man, he was targeted in the game last season down in Connacht by his former teammates. What a cross kick, and look at this for the finish by Stockdale. The footwork was incredible, simply to stay in play.
Yeah.
I think I cursed John Cooney by calling it a 5-pointer before the conversion.
Yeah, John Cooney said he was taken off the ball a couple of times last year by his his former Connacht buddies. There was plenty of chat during the game. You'd expect that. Cooney's been such a success here at Ulster. Their player of the season last season. Jack Carty cannot collect under that high ball, and it's Adi Alokan, the one-times capped Irish international, Nigerian-born, with a phenomenal amount of speed in those legs.
Yes, balls out.
Here is Blade for Carty. Back there is John Cooney, working with Peter Nelson. Nelson on his birthday, 26 today, as Peter Nelson, not quite catching as much of that as he might have hoped to.
I think I mentioned it in at the top of the show that Jack Carty has kicked the ball more than any other 10 in the Pro 14, and we've seen here tonight, if it's not on, he's willing to step back into the pocket and kick it long or kick to the corners, and it's really paying off for Connacht here because the backfield just aren't clearing the lines for Ulster.
McCartney for Jared Butler. Now Beelum, McCartney again, working a clever move at the line. Could see it with a big hit in midfield. You don't want to run into that man from Botchefstroom. And here is Curtis. So Ulster turning it over to Kernahan. Scored his first competitive try against the Kings, and the chase is on. The ball bouncing in space. This is danger for Connacht. Can Ulster capitalise again? Oh yes, they can! And what a chase it was! Phenomenal work rate there from Ulster, hunting the ball down, Angus Kernahan, from start to finish. And the volume has been pumped up around the Kingspan.
Ollie, go ahead. What are we checking?
Bryce, I just need to, I'm going to put an angle and a shot at the kick. I just wanted to check I think it's number 11, just to check whether he's behind the kicker when he advances. I'm going to put it on the screen for you now.
I think they might be checking for an offside.
Number 11
here.
we're watching here.
Potential offside. Stockdale was the man who was mentioned by Ollie Hodges, the TMO.
Yeah, we're checking this. Step back, please, Captain.
You getting the footage of that there, Bryce?
Looks like he's offside to me, unfortunately, but what endeavour there from Ulster. They stripped the ball. I think it was Marshall and could see in the tackle, thumping tackle. They stripped the ball, turnover, a couple of passes. The kick goes in. Oh, half a yard offside, Andre.
Yeah, if you remember 5 minutes ago in the Connacht 22, Marcel Coetzee frighteningly got stripped by Bundy Aki, and I think he's just been raging ever since. He's just been waiting for a chance to strip the ball back or just physically get stuck into someone, and we saw that there. Unfortunately, it's come to nothing. Jacob is probably, as you say, half a yard ahead of the kicker, and yeah, fair enough penalty.
Tell me where.
Well, that certainly changes the picture. Looked like a try to Ulster for Angus Kernan, and of course with the penalty, Connacht.
No, wait, let them get back to
able to come a long way back down the field. Jack Carty, is he going to go for the corner again here? Well, they've shown some domination up front with the scrum leading to that penalty try, and they'll want some domination here from this driving maul, where they know that Ulster have a potential
just as you are, guys, don't
might
close,
be a
respect the
fracture
gap,
point
please.
for this Ulster side.
I think, Robbo, that this wasn't my concern tonight. It was more the back three, but we've just seen
early contact by White. Yes.
Okay. Just managing to hang on to the ball there. Connacht carry from Ultan Delan. Irish international, born in Paris. Coetzee tries to turn it over. And there's advantage here coming to Connacht.
Stay White.
So Blade looks down the blind side, looking to probe in that area.
Hold here.
Blade again lining up the support runners.
Away
Sean
White.
O'Brien drives in, latches on. Now Blade to Ultan Delan. He's got tremendous acceleration off the mark in a short space. It's one of his real qualities. And that's Boyle, who's driven back, man of the match against Zebra, scored 2 tries in that game. Here it's Carty through. Oh, it's Bundy Aki, and Peter Nelson had to throw himself in the way there. The referee was playing the advantage, but it looked there as if Bundy Aki was about to pounce and scored a try for Connacht.
Pete Nelson did a really good job there of covering the wide play, but just giving himself enough space to read that chip on the way through. He must have been expecting a big collision with Bundy Aki.
All right, it's too many penalties now, and I need you to have a word. I need an improvement here. That's why somebody goes, okay? Yes, that's the call, Captain. Get the message across.
Beautiful grubber through by Jack Carty. Sublime accuracy.
On the 15.
Excellent work by Peter Nelson. with Bundy Aki on the chase, and he's made such a difference to this Connacht
Interference
side since he's come back into the team.
Discipline now, guys. Interference to the front.
Let's look at the gap here, Bracey. Connacht, remember, champions just 2 years ago under Pat Lam. Beat Glasgow in the semis and Leinster in the final. Tom McCartney to Ulster Delan. How hard have Ulster worked on this aspect of their game? They had to work on it because it was a real weakness. Connacht trying to set themselves, and here is Blade for Bundy Aki. Takes 2 men to bring him down. Has that done enough to suck in defenders? They can't quite get quick enough ball here, Connacht. And that's because Ulster got in and over the top again and turned that ball over.
Again, the physicality isn't waning at all in this game. Matty Ray gets over that ball and benefits from the kind of physicality of the 2 guys who made the tackle ahead of him. He gets a little bit of support from Marcel Coetzee, but kind of a little bit of a turn in the tide, and Ulster coming out on top physically in that little exchange there.
Not for me, Captain.
I think Marcel Coetzee got away with one there. He just kind of seemed to tackle and lie on top and give the time and the space for Matty Ray to get on top in on top of the ball. So 50-50 call for me, that one, but Ulster come out with it.
Ulster just losing 2 of their last 23 at the Kingsband Stadium in all competitions. It's taken by Matty Ray. That's McCluskey and Burns switching positions. Here is Nelson. Outside him is Stockdale. Nelson goes through the hole. Eventually he's brought down by Tom Farrell. Wonder is Farrell an outside bet for Joe Schmidt's wider squad, possibly for the November games. Another good carry by Henderson, showing his class there, getting those extra meters. Here's Curtis, now McCluskey. Again, 12 and 13, swapping positions in attack there. We expect to see Ulster doing that in defence tonight, with McCluskey drifting into the 13 channel when Connacht are attacking. Burns to O'Toole. Jared Butler can't quite get his hands on it. He's cleared out efficiently by Ulster. Here is Nelson for Stockdale. Oh, there's space for Stockdale and for Nelson to chase here. Peter Nelson is on the end of it. And Ulster feeding those hungry mouths in the back line. Stockdale first, the scorer. Stockdale then the creator. And Nelson finishing off.
I want to put this on the screen. You need to check it. Okay. You want to have a look at 15, White, and see if he's in front of the kicker.
Is he in front of Stockdale when he puts that kick through?
He definitely is, and it's another penalty to Connacht, unfortunately.
Kick, if you can bear with us.
Some really good play by Ulster, but you can see Jacob Stockdale, he's got a deft left foot. Peter Nelson, he's another half a yard. Andrew in front of him, really unlucky.
Is he?
It's close enough, isn't it?
Okay, Bracey, he's clearly in front. Number 15 is in front.
Good angle here.
Yeah.
So 15's in front of the ball there?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Clearly in front, said Ollie Hodges. Clearly in front?
Okay.
I think he is in front. I don't think he's clearly, I don't think it's that obvious, but yeah, I think he's in front.
Where the ball is and his back foot, it doesn't matter.
No, the foot's clearly in front.
I know you're pushing on a bit, Robbo, but
you need to tidy this up.
Your eyesight isn't that bad. He's definitely in front. Definitely in front. Definitely a penalty.
I understand that, but it's repeated infringement.
These two aren't getting on well at all. Rory's making the point that the ball is actually further ahead, so Pete's ahead of Jacob, but is he ahead of the ball? To be honest, I think he's ahead of both, but very, very marginally. These two are not friends tonight anyway, Rory and this ref.
Well, the officials were happy that it was clear and obvious, because that is how the decision has to be rated. But that's twice that Ulster have been caught out by exactly the same decision by the officials, a player in front of the kicker and offside.
Very subtle difference in Ulster's approach with ball in hand. They're not going toe to toe with this Connacht side anymore. They are off the touchline and they're taking their beating a little bit, but they're using that as an investment. If they can take a hiding, concede a little bit of ground, be patient and can recycle that ball quickly, they get a lot of joy in the edge. They go a couple of passes and that's where they can exploit this Connacht defence.
McCartney, Quinrue gets a hand to it and paddles the ball away accurately to Bundy Aki. That's a really good carry into the heart of that Ulster defence. Rory Best.
Good.
His turn to try to turn that ball over for Ulster. Here's Carty. And coming in from the wing is Kelleher. Remember, no Tiernan O'Halloran, no Kieran Marmion. Both off early for this Connacht side. Finlay Bealham with the carry. Oh, Coetzee has stolen the ball. O'Toole. Now Curtis. Acres of space back there in that Connacht defensive area, and it's Matt Healy who has to rush and clear.
Coetzee is still annoyed, I think, by the looks of it. He's starting to throw his weight around now. Again, a smart play. Make the turnover, put it behind them, and get a foothold in their half. Connacht or Ulster is just starting to play.
Quicker, please, Ulster.
A little bit more clever.
You in or you out? Come on in. That's fine. But
17 seasons of Celtic rugby. Connacht just 5 wins from 30 against Ulster. Here's Cooney and Stuart McCluskey at first receiver again. Gets away from the attempted tackle of Jack Carty. It is one of his weaknesses. He does miss quite a few tackles. Ulster may well target him again. Nelson looking to thread it through again. Here's Stockdale. Now Cooney. Carry from Matty Ray. Brought down by Paul Boyle, former Ireland under-20s captain, as is Sean O'Brien. So 2 former Irish international underage captains in this Connacht back row. Billy Burns thought about the pass. The avenue was blocked, and Buckley goes down on the ball and flicks it up for Carty. Has a little look. Back there is Nelson.
Advantage is over.
He's got Stockdale outside him. Here's Stockdale. Kernahan's outside him, so there's plenty of pace on this wing, and Stockdale just couldn't quite get that offload away. Adia Lucan was in the way.
Lost forward in the tackle.
I think Adia Lucan's a little bit lucky to get away with that. It's lost forward in the tackle is what the ref says.
Kicked it away.
But he's probably strategic. I've done it myself. Strategically stuck his hand there, disguised it as a tackle. But that's a deliberate knock-on for me.
Get it tidied up.
No, actually, you know what? That is fair enough, I think.
Back in your box, Andrew.
Yeah, no. No, sorry, I was talking rubbish.
Sorry. Time is off.
It's funny when you see a turnover from this Connacht side, and in years gone by under Pat Lam, they would have played with the ball. They wouldn't have kicked away the ball like that. And it's more or less Ulster are playing like that. They get the turnover, they get a couple of passes in, then they're putting the kick in behind and really turning this Connacht defence around. It's a strange sitting up here watching this Connacht team kick away so much ball, considering the speed that they have on the outside. It's definitely new for me.
Pat Lam, of course, the coach of this Connacht side when they won this championship a couple of years back. Lam now the head man at Bristol. Alongside him, the great John Muldoon, over 300 games for Connacht, and also in the coaching team there, Conor McPhillips. It's a Connacht takeover down there in the West Country. The West's awake down there too.
As Stevie says, this isn't the kind of the script that we expected to see tonight. We thought it was going to be Connacht playing with the width, playing with the pace, and stretching this Ulster defence, and they have done that at times, but it's been their physicality that's been so impressive. And Ulster on the other side, when they get the ball, when they play with a little bit of width, and they play with smarts, they're really stretching this Connacht defence and asking big questions of them. It's not the way I expected this game to pan out.
Ian Henderson there, the Belfast Telegraph back page splash headline today focused on Ian Henderson's concussion against Munster. He couldn't remember the line-out calls last week, but Ulster confirmed he was fit to play and passed all those HIA protocols, and Henderson would not be allowed to play unless the medics were sure he was 100%, and he certainly looks 100% on the evidence of his performance tonight, with some strong carries for this Ulster side, and they need those strong carries right now. Billy Burns. Here is McCluskey and Curtis trying to build a relationship in midfield. They've never played together. Tom O'Toole, he's becoming a fierce ball carrier, this young man. 119 kilograms. He's got the physical maturity of a 30-year-old just out of his teenage years. Now Warwick and Best.
Away, Blue.
Under 5 minutes to half-time. Billy Burns, Marcel Coetzee.
Stepped away, play on.
Carried well for Ulster this season. He's been offloading too, Coetzee. His 10th game for Ulster. Remember, Coetzee, 2 ACL injuries have limited his game time for Ulster since he came from South Africa. O'Toole, McCluskey. Well, it's Rory Best in midfield. And here's Matty Ray showing good pace. Tackle comes in from Farrell.
George, happy?
Oh, loose pass. Curtis has to scramble to pick it up. And now McCluskey goes in.
Use it!
He's a 6'4", 6'5" scrum half. Stockdale popping up on the other wing. We saw Kernahan on this wing a short time ago. Something Ulster have always liked to do. It's the way they fashion their game. Used to be Trimble and Bowe doing all that work. And here is McCluskey doing some hard work in midfield.
Stay.
Alton Delan makes the tackle. Billy Burns put under pressure there by the pass. Up comes Carty, and the result is a knock-on. So well played there by the Connacht 10.
What's forward?
Really good defensive set there from Connacht. Just put Ulster under a lot of pressure. Sean O'Brien's been everywhere. I'd love to see his tackle count or his work rate or the meters he's covered, because his stats will be through the roof. He's had a really, really big game. He's led from the front for Connacht tonight.
He's the best Sean O'Brien in Ireland at the moment, but the other one's only played about 55 minutes of rugby. He's certainly been in fine form. Billy Burns, the ball knocked out of his hands there. I'm sure his brother Freddie's not watching tonight, because Freddie is playing at fullback at this very moment for Bath down at the Rec against Exeter. His brother Freddie normally tunes in to Premier Sports and tweets away during Ulster's live games.
Yeah, I think Ulster, their attack shape, they just, one or two passes weren't as accurate as they needed to be to stretch this Connacht defence, and then they just lost their shape. I think whenever it gets to that stage, you need to put one up, you need to change it up, you need to put a ball in behind, or you need to slow it up and do what Munster do very well, just put a contestable up and try and start again.
Europe into focus next week. Ulster play Leicester here, and in January it'll be 20 years since Ulster won the Heineken Cup. And there's a book coming out to commemorate it, The Last Amateurs by Jonathan Bradley, and some great books on Connacht survival and success too. The Team That Refused to Die, Front Up, Rise Up, and the DVD I thoroughly recommend. The West's Awake. What else could you call it?
I did call it. Okay.
I think Jonathan Bradley was especially disappointed with Ulster's record defeat last week.
Seconds a bit quicker, please.
There was a mention of 2 years prior to Ulster winning the European Cup in '97. It would have been. They received their record defeat then, and then as soon as the book went to printers, it was out of date immediately.
Yeah, it's in the first chapter actually. Ulster's record defeat, which is now not, of course, the record defeat. Remember a few years ago, Ulster conceding 60 against Toulon down at the Stade Félix Mayol in European competition, and 64 last week against Munster. And there's that scrum again. They are pulverising this Ulster 8. It's becoming a real concern for Ulster. But what results Connacht are getting from the set piece?
He's dead straight, you can see it there.
Look at that, it comes with the second surge. Just smashing all before them.
Yeah, with every scrum that goes past, Connacht will just continue to grow in confidence and take any opportunity to get stuck in to this Ulster pack. And then that's going to lead to another difficult conversation between Rory and this ref.
Yes, they don't have a very pretty relationship right now, Rory Best and Andrew Brace. Rory was trying to recover a little bit of ground with the ref a short time ago.
And hold White.
But Best will always put his point. Oh, well played by Ian Henderson, the steal. Here's Cooney. Adil Logan with the tackle, and it's a penalty. Player held back. There was a tug there from Connacht. A legal tug. 50-50. The baying of the crowd lets you know that.
Lovely footwork from John Cooney there. He just shows how dangerous he is in the loose. Picked up the bouncing ball and just beat some guy in a subsequent. Beat Tom McCarthy. Then beat Calvin Blaine. Sean O'Brien here, very streetwise, just pulling him back. Not streetwise enough, didn't get away with it.
So into added time, and it's Delan who gets his hands on the ball. Bundyaki, are they going to do what they used to do under Pat Lam? And that's a tackle under high. Could see a high, most definitely there.
Okay, step away, step away.
Andrew Brace has his hand in his right pocket.
Thank you,
here.
guys. Take your place.
It would be Coetzee's second high tackle, remember.
Step away. Look, 8's always high.
Yeah, yellow card. Yellow card. You could feel it coming. The Brace instinct was to reach immediately for that right pocket, so Ulster now down to 14 men. It was on Kyle Godwin, yeah. Can Ulster argue with that?
I'm trying to work.
No, I don't think they can, to be honest. If Brace was in any doubt at all, he would have looked up and saw that it was Marcel Coetzee who had previously done something similar at the start of the game. But yeah, no doubt about the yellow card.
Connacht in a very powerful position at the end of the first half with an extremely dominant scrummage. Ulster 5, Connacht 14.
Surprise, surprise, the king is back!
Collection Use Super Value Real Rewards points when you pay your air bill. Earn 400 bonus points when you link your Real Rewards card to your My Air account. All things considered, it's Super Value.
Opportunity keeps knocking. The question is, will I make it, mine or drop it? My heart is pumping, my mind been pondering. It's everything or nothing. Yeah, I never did it for the mass appeal. Committed 10,000 hours trying to master skill. Yeah, this is what my dreams are made of. And every night I didn't sleep is gonna pay off. For everyone that ever doubted me, they way off. Set ready, go for the takeoff.
NetBet, making sport more exciting.
Long time for the pace now, no time for the slow down. Man, I do it for the long route. Yeah, I'm in a girl, no doubt. What you want, you don't have to shout. One sec.
Epic awaits. For just €20 top up, get unlimited access to YouTube and social networks, an extra 15 gigs of data, and unlimited calls to any network. All with Air Prepay. Air. Let's make possible.
The best men don't just look good on the outside. They take a good look inside. They let it out, hug it out. The best men aren't afraid of commitment, and they're always there when it counts. The best men make every challenge their Everest, but don't beat themselves up if they only make base camp. To the men who always give their best, we've given you our best quality blades for over 100 years, because what you're made of makes a difference. Gillette, the best a man can get.
That's how you do it. Jose Mourinho can celebrate. That's a brilliant finish. Nothing quite like Derby Day. That's an absolute rocket.
It's half-time at the Kingspan Stadium and the score is Ulster 5, Connacht 14. 2 tries from Connacht, Tiernan O'Halloran injuring himself, scoring after just 6 minutes. Then a penalty try after 5.5 minutes of scrums for Connacht. Ulster hit back with 1 try from Jacob Stockdale on his return. Okay, lads, loads to discuss in that first half. Pretty impressive stuff. I suppose we'll jump pretty much straight into that first try. Tiernan O'Halloran, a great break by Matt Healy early on.
Yeah, it was a really good starter play. I mean, this is obviously on the training field, off the top. They had a dummy hit up, a roll-out pass and a wrap-around, and they found the space. And Healy's a great striker. When Healy puts his foot in the gas, it's very hard to hold him. Now, here you see here, it's just a little wrap-around play here, out the back, and then Healy puts his foot in the gas, goes through.
I mean, you look at Farrell's line potentially.
Well, that's the thing. I actually think the set play was lovely and O'Halloran finished really well, but I think there's a blocker line here. And I was amazed this was out the pass. Look how he blocks out the Kluski.
He changes his direction.
Well, that's the whole point, Tommy. If you change your direction and you affect the line, defensive line of a player, that's blocking. So whether McCluskey would or would not have made that tackle is irrelevant.
But wouldn't he been better off if McCluskey took it and fell on the ground?
Well, I think so.
Give a better picture to the referee.
But the referee did look at it and then obviously didn't give it.
He did, but in other words, a little bit of innocence maybe from McCluskey, who was trying too hard to make the tackle. Sometimes take it and
the player shouldn't have to do that. The player should know, like, just play what he's playing. But he was taken out. Right? It was a very lucky try. It was a great play, but a lucky try.
Absolutely. And then the second try was a penalty try where the referee did give this again. So maybe Ulster feel a little bit hard done by.
I'm not so sure. No. I think the Lucid did.
Sorry, I'm trying my best here.
Yeah, the Warwick at Lucid alone. If you just look at the picture, look at his bind is all over the place. You can see he's in terrible. Now it's very, very handy having Quinn Rue behind you, and just the sheer physicality that I think is one of the great parts of our game that's underutilised in many cases. But I was at one point, Tommy, it was looking like they weren't going to get a reward at all because Andrew Brace was very patient with Ulster and Ulster scrum.
Such a dominant. I mean, I think he almost blew it up a bit early there, did he?
Yeah, certainly one of the earlier scrums where there was a possible advantage. But again, Brace was very, very patient with Ulster, but eventually lost patience. And I think
Connacht, I don't think he should have gone to 3 penalties.
No.
I think he could have walked under the post after the second one and nobody could have complained. So that's unfair to Connacht to make him go through a third scrum.
Let's go have a look at the third try then as well, with Jacob Stockdale scoring in the corner. Lucky one.
Well, I
taken.
think the interesting about this is we normally see these kicks when they have a penalty advantage, but there's no advantage here. So it's great thinking by Burns. Lovely kick. Unfortunately, Keelan Blade just a little bit short to stop it, but that's class finishing. I mean, he had to get everything right here. His foot placement, no room for error. He keeps his foot inside the line and dots it down, and that's what strikers do. They get a half chance to nail it.
Yeah. And then I suppose it was a strong finish to the half. Ulster obviously had 2 disallowed tries, Kernahan and Nelson. I mean, both in front of the kicker. I mean, criminal stuff.
They're good calls, but unfortunately they're the right calls, and they would have brought Ulster back into the game with a roar. But you see here, he's well in front of the ball, Stockdale, and he plays the player, so he causes the effect. And
it's a right call.
It's a right call. It's a very tight one, but it's the right one.
But it goes without saying that Ulster's performance in the opening half has been, I know the scoreboard is against them, but they're drastically more improved from last week. The physicality around the breakdown, the clear-outs, they're not being bullied at all. Like, I know the scoreboard is against them, but I don't think they should need to panic at all. It's a vastly different performance against different opposition, but I think they've improved hugely in the week.
Yeah, okay, right. OK, time for another short break. Connacht are ahead by 2 tries to 1 in Belfast. The second half coming up very soon.
Collection News Super Value Real Rewards points when you pay your air bill. Earn 400 bonus points when you link your Real Rewards card to your My Air account. All things considered, it's Super Value.
I was going to play golf today, but the fam wanted to go hiking. Great call, guys!
Just punch him in the nose!
It's not a shark. Don't make the same mistake I did. Download the Golf Now app and instantly book a tee time, 24/7. Plus, you get free features like GPS and score tracking.
I'm gonna distract it!
All right. Nope. Please stop helping!
Why golf later when you can golf now? Go play.
Throw me my 9-iron!
At Bruce Betting, we're giving you more. Whether you bet on our website, iOS app, or via our new Android app, Bruce Betting have all your betting needs covered. Packed with features and easy to use, the new Bruce Betting app includes active insurance, cash out, and live casino. Bruce Betting, giving you more. In store, online, and now on your phone.
Opportunity keeps knocking. The question is, will I make it, mine or drop it? My heart is pumping, my mind been pondering. It's everything or nothing. Yeah, I never did it for the mass appeal. Committed 10,000 hours trying to master skill. Yeah, this is what my dreams are made of. And every night I didn't sleep is gonna pay off. Sure, everyone that ever doubted me, they way off. Set ready, go for the takeoff.
It is the hottest ticket in UFC history.
Khabib, the Eagle! His grappling, his striking, everything he does is world class. 26-0.
The notorious Conor McGregor!
Surprise, surprise, the king is back.
The world will be watching.
The hype behind this contest is insane. I cannot wait to see it. The most epic fight in the history of the UFC.
Plenty of live Premier League football on the Air Sport Pack this weekend. Tomorrow afternoon from 5, it's Man United versus Newcastle from Old Trafford. And on Sunday morning from 11:30, it's a London derby as Fulham take on Arsenal at Craven Cottage. OK, guys, second half is coming up soon, but I mean, criminal just before half-time there. Marcel Coetzee, I mean, a bad time to pick up a yellow card, isn't it?
Well, the first thing is Bundy Aki showed wonderful attitude on the turnover to come out, but that's very, very sloppy. Like, this is
careless.
Now, he knew
careless.
it was so sloppy, he knew it was sloppy, and he put his hands up.
The problem here now, Tommy, is that they've 10 minutes of the second half without a key player. If Connacht score again here, now it's going to be a long evening. They'll really put it up to Ulster. So it's a crucial moment, and you know the clock is in the red. It's just killer.
Absolutely, and even if you look at the bench for Ulster, I mean, they don't really have game changers, which you kind of need as well, Eddie.
It's a light bench because of all the injuries they're still holding. They don't have much depth in the squad, and if they're in trouble in the last 20, there's nobody going to come off that bench, I think, to make a change for them.
Yeah, but the flip side is in the dressing room, they'll know that was a massive yellow card to go through, but they'll also know they've created 2 scores that, but for a half a yard here and there, so they don't have to do a whole lot.
Their game plan is like Leinster last week. If you watch their setups, they're getting numbers wide, but they're not as efficient out there as Leinster were last week. They're not making those big kind of breakthroughs, but they need to be patient. They will, if they're patient, they will get scores. Yeah. And well, I suppose they have to batten down the hatches for 10 minutes without Coetzee now, and then see if they can stay in the game and nick a score early doors and get back into it. It's a one-score game in that respect.
Which is interesting, sorry Eddie, which is interesting. Before when Connacht had a penalty opportunity, they didn't take the 3 points.
They went to the corner.
They went to the corner.
Could have been a big moment, that one.
Yeah.
But
if Ulster score next, this game on. If Connacht score next, it could be a long way back from.
Well, the Connacht's defence, though, as well, Liam, has been very impressive, hasn't it? I mean, there's been...
It's aggressive, Tommy, and it's in your face, but the space is out wide, and Ulster need to hold their depth and get they have the numbers out there. They're not getting the ball to them efficiently, and if they do, they'll have inroads, but their accuracy is a bit off now. OK, we'll see. The teams are out onto the pitch. Let's get back up to our commentators now. Andrew Trimble, Stephen Ferris and Mark Robson.
Well, Ulster and Billy Burns on the back foot at home. Key aspects of Connacht's game have been excellent, like the scrum, full-on Derby Day commitment. Connacht against Glasgow, one of the games that Connacht lost. Oh, the take out in the air straight from kick-off, which looked very nasty in real time.
Step away, boys, step away. Just step away.
It's almost a full revolution there. It was Cian Kelleher coming in. Both players looking to be focused on the ball.
Potential foul play there.
What doesn't help Matty Ray there is that he doesn't get off the ground.
Just need that close-up version again, George.
If he gets off the ground there, it's a different story. But the fact that his foot's still planted makes it difficult
Nothing
for
on
him.
The screen now, all.
And remember, the officials look at the outcomes in these situations, not intent. And Ulster, at the moment, down to 14 men. Marcel Coetzee being yellow carded in the final play of the first half. Andrew Brace has moved very close to the big screen away to our right. What will he see? What will he determine here?
The first time.
Now,
I think, Robbo, if anybody can remember a few years back, the Jared Payne incident against Saracens, where Jared was following the ball, but he didn't really get off the ground, and he took, I think it was good out, and we all know what happened there. But
reckless has gone above the horizontal there.
It's pretty reckless.
I'm thinking red card.
Oh dear, this is terrible for Matty Ray.
No.
Okay.
Well, Connacht had a player red carded last week, Dominic Robertson McCoy, for stamping on the neck of Josh van der Fleer.
Look, captain, he's not in a realistic position. He's taken him out in the end. He's landed dangerously. It's a red card.
Yeah, and you probably heard the referee saying that was his decision before he broke the news to Rory Best and to Matty Ray. So Ulster down to 14 at the break, and now down to 13 following that red card. Fair decision?
Not sure. He said the ref kind of stalled in his explanation there. He said, and he's fallen on, and then he said he's fallen dangerously. And I thought he was going to say his head, and he didn't fall on his head. And I thought that might have been the one thing that got Matty Ray off the hook.
I think, Andrew, if he had to get off the ground a foot in the air, it would have been a yellow card and off for 10 minutes. But unfortunately, it's a red card, and Ulster are really under the pump now.
What I was going to say at the start of the second half was when Connacht lost to Glasgow at home on the sports ground, their game management at the end of that game, when in a clear lead, was not particularly good. But they'll be certainly helped in their game management by the fact they're playing against, at the moment, 13 men. It will be back to 14 when Coetzee returns. Great work by Boyle and then by Beelum, who scrummaged superbly in that first half.
Backwards.
Wonder as he put himself back into Joe Schmidt's field of vision. Here is Godwin. Ross Kane is on for Tom O'Toole. That Ulster scrummage under nuclear attack in that first half, and they have managed to turn that ball over at the breakdown. And there are memories from that Saracens game, and how hard Ulster fought after Jared Payne was red carded, and actually came close enough to winning that game. And they're going to have to show that kind of fight again here.
Yeah, going by the physicality they entered that maul with, and then the subsequent phases of defence, it looks like they're fired up anyway. It looks like they're ready to make a point here. So we'll see what way this goes. They've got a mountain to climb here now with 13 men for a few more minutes, and then 14 men for the rest of the game. This is going to be a really tough night for Ulster.
Stuart McCluskey, look at that. He's big enough to be a flank forward, and he certainly used his 17.5 stones well there, and his strength.
He's not that big, Robbo.
He says he is. Rory Best. Good take at the tail.
Ball! Don't lift the leg. 2.
In possession.
5 out.
Played really well last week, O'Connor, surrounded by chaos and a crazy scoreboard to look at through that game as the points mounted up for Munster, and in comes Healy. And now it's Blade who bounces off Nick Timoney. Replacement scrum half does well. Buckley with the pass for Ultan Delan, brought down by the ever-willing Alan O'Connor. Here is Blade for Carty. Cooney tries to get to him to charge the ball down. Adeolucan comes in, and Nelson, goalkeeper style, inside the 6-yard box.
Stay here, Blue.
Goes down on the ball.
Stay
in front of his goals. Brave again by Nelson. Here's Henderson.
12 move.
Ulster certainly need their leaders here now. Connacht, remember, 58 years since they won in Belfast. They may never get an opportunity as good as this one now. A 14 points to 5 lead. And look at the colours above that Ulster graphic there. And here is Blade. Connacht have it here. And here's Boyle. What a pass from Boyle. Bundy Aki. Superb dummy by Aki. Who's on the outside? Does he need anybody on the outside? Now it's Godwin. And Godwin slips away from the challenge. Rory Best brings him down. Here is Blade. Dennis Buckley has Sean O'Brien outside him. O'Brien with 17 tackles in the first half. Superb first 40 minutes from O'Brien. 11 tackles too from the captain, Jared Butler. And here is Boyle wriggling away. Rory Best trying to make a one-man poach. Blade for Delan. It's gone very, very quiet here in the Kingspan. Every Ulster fan in this stadium knows what this Ulster side is now up against as Quinn Roux takes that ball into contact.
Ball is lifted. Away two.
And Rory Best has been told to get away as McCluskey, well, he felt he'd stolen another poach for Ulster there, but Andrew Brace is having none of that.
Scrum called.
Sean O'Brien just got a turnover earlier in that play, and I think he was a little bit fortunate. Andrew Brace, the language he's using when guys come off their feet, he says off.
Let's go.
That means they're not in a position where they can continue to poach or continue to try to turn over the ball. He said off, and then he changed his mind and he said turnover is good. So I think they're a little bit lucky to get away with that.
Okay. Well, the water's on from here. Let's go, guys.
Well, they've got red and yellow card pressure. Are they going to build some scoreboard pressure here, Connacht, with that man off the field for the rest of the game? Andy Ray. Well, this is where Ulster have been completely obliterated in this game. In the scrum, Ross Kane is on at tight head for Tom O'Toole.
Nice and straight. Coach! Yeah, when you're ready.
Can't quite see from this angle. I think Angus Curtis might have gone into.
Yeah, he has. Same for you in the first half. Seconds are not ready. So let's go.
Ulster trying to shore up this 8. Of course, space is created elsewhere, possibly.
Really impressed with a couple of the Connacht performances so far. The young guy Paul Boyle, you know, Sean O'Brien in the back row. They really have stepped up, coming away from home to the Kingspan Stadium, where they think they've got a fighting chance here in Belfast. And those two guys in the pack have really stood up. And now Matty Ray off the pitch.
That's why we're
going to
go
even harder.
Let's go. Let's go.
Well, Connacht already have secured one penalty try through this avenue.
Seconds. Crouch.
Paul Boyle, they're looking to slingshot into this
scrimmage.
Can they get themselves onto the front foot with that secondary drive as Ulster collapse on that tight end side? This says you have to use it. Off goes Boyle. Out comes Timoney. Great work by Timoney. Driving ball onto his heels. And Ulster securing the turnover there. And that was ferocious D from the home side.
The commentator's curse there on young Paul Boyle. I think the referee, you know, he told him to play it. The Connacht were going forward. The possible penalty advantage could have been given to the Connacht team there, but he said use it, and he did use it. But unfortunately, he didn't use it to great effect.
Earlier on in the game, we wondered why the ref didn't play advantage. Connacht would have liked to have played advantage, but they didn't get the opportunity. There, they didn't want to play it. They wanted the penalty, or they wanted the scrum again. And Andrew Brace made them play it. So a little bit of inconsistency.
Good as you are, Connacht. Good as you are.
Difficult shirt to fill for Paul Boyle, isn't it? The number 8 worn so many times by John Muldoon, a real cult hero.
In you come, Ulster.
In Galway and across Connacht. Finished his career by landing a conversion against Leinster last season that
just move for me,
caused some displeasure to Cian Healy. Leinster gaining a bit of revenge last week with that 20 points to 3 victory down at the sports ground. Connacht looking for an away win here. O'Connor takes. Here's Cooney. Now McCluskey hammering into Butler. Another tackle to the tally for Butler. Timoney.
And away now.
12 carries, 14 tackles against Munster for Nick Timoney. Now Rory Best.
Stay.
Ian Henderson tries
Play
to
the ball
use
now.
a little bit of fancy footwork there and the strength, and it's Caelan Blade in front of him now. Henderson's done a lot of that tonight for Ulster. Just working his way through contact, and Angus Curtis.
No offence to me, all unless you can say otherwise.
And the Ulster fans don't like the way he's been hit, but Andrew Brace, he sees no problem. Cooney, Burns.
Yeah, it's on the
His
ball
brother
for me.
Freddie's been scoring points for Bath down at the Rec. The Exeter Chiefs leading by a couple of points at half-time. In goes Boyle with the tackle. Cooney to Burns. Now McCluskey to Angus Curtis. Now back in midfield after his short-term role on the flank of that previous scrum. Now Ross Kane.
Never back to the hindmost.
Strong direct carrier as Kane when he gets the chance. Here's Burns.
Advantage
And
Ulster.
O'Connor now Stockdale, Ulster's try scorer, brought down by Bundy Aki, who gets a clip in the face from a loose boot there, accidental boot
All
it looked
offside,
like.
Blue, never to the hindmost. All of you. Never back on side, Blue.
Sean O'Brien, I think, has made his 21st tackle in this game in 49 minutes. That's not bad going.
Play it down, Captain, so just wait for
Ulster
them. Yeah, mate.
are doing really well with their phase play and their shape.
Off, John.
They're just really hurting because they haven't got those two extra players to really threaten this Connacht side. They're doing well enough to get a foothold in the game, to put them under enough pressure, to get penalties. Let's see what they do here.
Okay, 12.
What's the game plan here, Andrew? If you're out in the back line here, it's just ball retention, hold on to it, wait until Marcel Coetzee gets back onto the pitch and then look for opportunities.
Yeah, I would take 3 points here, eat up a couple more minutes, get Marcel Coetzee back on the pitch, and then go from there.
Elsewhere, Edinburgh leading the Cheetahs 23-21.
Doc, we have to make a decision on this player.
15 points to 8. Ulster's previous game outside Ireland was against the Cheetahs, that amazing 39-all draw down in Bloemfontein before that defeat at Munster.
12.
Ulster have conceded in their previous 2 games 14 tries, and then add the tries to that total tonight. And it shows that the defence has been creaking.
Captain, shot.
I'll be very happy to
Okay,
get
time back
Marcel
on. Shot
Coetzee
called.
back on the pitch.
Time back on.
So at least managing to survive that phase, and they might come out of this with 3 points through John Cooney. Against his old side.
I'm not sure, mate. Johnny is how long on the bin there?
Top point scorer on the Pro 14 last season with 175, 226 when you include Europe. 27 points on his own against Harlequins here. It's quite a long way out for John Cooney, but perfect kicking conditions, but the accuracy not quite there, and Ulster really could have done with that.
He's on now,
that
Captain.
is a relief for Connacht. Coetzee is back.
Yellow card. Returning.
Bundy Aki, by the way, still getting
bring him
some
on. Is he
treatment.
on, John?
Yes, all on.
Okay, time back on.
But he seems to be okay. Head bandaged, bit of tape. Tough man, no problems to Bundy. Peter Nelson taking on
Release
this
tackler!
flat line of blue shirts in that Connacht defence. Cooney for Burns, pulls it back to Stuart McCluskey, tries to step around the top tackler for Connacht, Sean O'Brien.
That's a tackle!
So impressive, not just tonight, but this season. Cooney for best. Little
Off
flat
he
top ball for Ross Kane. And the referee has the arm out again. I think it was Dennis Buckley doing something he shouldn't have been doing on the floor. He looked to be off his feet, and it's Jacob Stockdale who tries the optimistic offload. But Ulster, knowing full well that they had the advantage,
One straight to the floor, taking the space beyond the ball.
Right from Andrew Brace.
Your first action, space beyond the ball, not on the ball. Arrive up.
His knee just grazes the grass there. But regardless of whether it does or not, Andrew Brace says, off your feet. You're not in a position where you can compete for the ball anymore. And he communicated there very clearly. I think Dennis Buckley's probably going to look back at that and he might get a hard time for that one.
Europe next week. Remember, Ulster play Leicester here. Leicester having a up and down kind of season, conceded a lot of points in a number of games, struggled to get past Sale last week. Leicester playing Northampton tomorrow in the East Midlands Derby at Twickenham, and a fundraiser for Rob Horne, who sadly had to retire from the game. Former Northampton Saints player and Wallaby. This was even further than the last one. Well, he stroked that with some panache. He sort of glided his leg through the ball there. Got great purchase. 14 points to 8.
We talked about Connacht's discipline before the match, and the only thing that's going to let Ulster back into this game is those cheap, silly penalties around the breakdown, being offside, not being behind the hindmost foot, and Ulster can get back into this game. There's plenty of time left.
Jack Carty's restart finds Jacob Stockdale. Remember, Ulster 2 tries disallowed in that first half. Both of the same infringements. Players in front of the kicker.
Inside, 9.
In offside positions.
Dennis Buckley has just been taken off. I wonder if it's anything to do with that penalty he just gave away.
Stockdale gathers. Strange
Tackle!
one. And McCabe is on. Peter McCabe, former Munster man.
Yeah, in the tackle by you first. In the tackle first. Captain.
That Leicester Saints game tomorrow, Stephen, as a man who once had his finger bitten by Dylan Hartley, who will you be supporting?
Well, I've close contacts, and Andrew would back me up on this with Jordy Murphy. I think he's been catapulted now into looking after everything at Leicester with Matt O'Connor now gone from that setup. He's a great guy. He's a brilliant guy. We shared World Cups together, and I hope he has a really successful time at Leicester. So, you know, Dylan Hartley, he didn't come up to me and apologise after that game. So I still hold a little bit of beef against him.
You two now, guys.
Maybe he'll come in the future, Robbo, eh? I'll not hold my breath.
Seconds.
Maybe you'll get a postcard when he retires. Of course, you do not wish Jordan Murphy every success next week, surely, when the Leicester come to King's
Definitely not.
Set. Stay ball.
That'll be a big night.
Stay dead.
And it's a big last half hour and a bit for this Ulster team. And again, it's Connacht who come away through Paul Boyle. And he almost got completely away. It was Angus Curtis who had to come into the despairing tackle. And then Jacob Stockdale with an almost miracle turnover for Ulster.
If Ulster are going to get back into this game, it's big moments like that from Angus Curtis.
10-14.
That's exactly the sort of attitude and the sort of fight. I've heard Dan McFarlane talking about this fight. Ulster will fight to the bitter end, and that's a great example of it from one of the youngest guys on the pitch, Angus Curtis.
On the 5-10.
Well, Ulster just sticking in there. Curtis again playing in the back row, remember, at that scrum, and he is playing like a flanker there to bring down Paul Boyle.
Whoever it was going top on the ball there as well did a really good job. I don't know who that was.
Number 1 white. Good as you are, Connacht.
Sort of a mini-me 7, isn't he, at the moment, Curtis?
Hold on.
An old school 7.
Just hold him, Sean.
A Brosseau.
Good, John?
Yes.
Hold on. Hold on.
Who's playing for Northampton tomorrow?
Gone full circle.
Really best. And it's O'Connor, it's Quinn Rue who gets in there and steals that ball for Connacht. Here goes Butler. Jared Butler, the skipper. Former Brumby, and they're clean through here. It's Boyle. He's a lot of pace, Boyle. He's got support on the shoulder. Can they clear out hard and fast here? It's Kernahan on the ball for Ulster. Butler plays scrum half. Sean O'Brien, Marcel Coetzee
tackle
with the tackle. McCluskey comes in. They try to hold him off the ground.
No, the ruck is
the
full.
ball has got the floor for Blade to play, and now it's Quinn Rue. Connacht rampaging away through that Ulster defence. Now it's Alden Delan, so often the go-to man as a ball carrier for Connacht. Here's Carty and now Godwin. One-time cap by Australia. Another player signed by Connacht from the Brumbies out of Canberra. Here's Blade for Boyle, adding to his reputation tonight. Just 21 years of age. Matt Healy is on the outside, but it's Curtis again. That work rate continuing to be high. Here is Blade for Quinrue. Just dropping the shoulder into contact. Blade goes in, they shovel it out for Carty, and it's Bundy Akey now. Here is Godwin, he's got Adeolokan on the outside, had to check and stop, then uses footwork to get away from Cooney, and Ulster just shepherd him into touch through Angus Kernahan.
He's been so poor tonight, Adeolokan. He hasn't went looking for the ball. You know, Andrew Trimble coming off his wing back in the day and helping out the back row. We just haven't seen any of that tonight from that man. And he just gets bailed in the touch. He reminds me of an old Tyrone High where he always used to take on the outside, and 9 times out of 10 he'd get bundled in the touch. Sorry, Tyrone.
On the line, don't step off the line, Connacht.
Paul Boyle.
In you come, Ulster.
No Robin Copeland tonight.
Yeah, I think Ulster, whenever they number up, they do a good job on the inside, and they hover to the position where they number up. They get 2 on 2. They need to move up and make decisions.
No problems with that line out taken well crisply by Alan O'Connor.
That's once 9. Just stay there then.
Rory Best. Cooney, that's in the touch. Stop
2 and 3 blue.
Something I was touching on earlier on, guys.
Yep.
How do you feel Connacht should manage this game to take it to its conclusion and to get that away victory and their first win here in over half a century?
Tendency is whenever the opposition go a man down, to think that that's going to do the job for you, or the red card is going to finish the job for you. That's not the case. Connacht need to continue to get their intensity to the level it was in the first half. Otherwise, that extra man, you're not going to see the big difference.
Taken by Butler at the front this time. Connacht showed some nice variation of the line out last week against Leinster. It was more traditional Connacht style drive as well. Shuffling Ulster back into their 22, keeping that pressure on. That's good work once more by the big beefers up front, and Alden Delan, another one of those characteristic carries. Kutsia with the tackle. Here is Blade switching play, the call coming in from Jack Carty, and Butler was in that outside channel this time for Connacht.
I thought for a second John Cooney had got a little bit high, and had it been a winger on the edge with a little bit more pace than he might have been.
On your front man.
He just turns and recovers just in time. Lovely little play from Jack Carty all the same. Keeps Ulster pinned in their own 22.
Guiding his side well this season, Jack Carty. Rory Best, big responsibility on him now. He finds Alan O'Connor again. Ball! With a very sweet throw indeed.
Support players. A player on the ground.
Sacking the support player.
This guy,
number
5.
Sacked
yes,
at the line out.
Tackling the support player. Hasn't got the ball.
My opinion, Mark and Andrew, on how Connacht are going to close this game out. They need to keep it tighter. They need to slow it down. Pick around the fringes. You know, small pick and goes, just eating up the clock and eating up the yards. And you look at Ulster over the last couple of seasons, that's where they've been vulnerable. The likes of Treviso coming to Belfast, Treviso getting in behind them, Howe picking up around the rock. And how are they going to lose this game? By silly penalties like this and letting Ulster out of jail once again.
Ulster. Thank you.
Connacht this season played 5, 4 of those at home, 1-2. A lot of those difficult games against former champions like the Scarlets in Glasgow and Leinster and Cluskey. So a tough draw for them early season, Connacht.
Release now!
Shane Delahunt is on, wearing 16 for Connacht. Here's Billy Burns. Now Curtis has been an effective flanker and centre tonight for Ulster. Playing out of position in 2 positions. And the forced offload there means scrum Connacht. And they'll be delighted with the result there. Again, applying themselves in defence.
Here, guys.
this is a changed Ulster front row and a changed Connacht front row, so it'll be interesting to see what way this scrum goes now, Stevie.
Time off.
There's 20 minutes left in this game, 19 minutes left in this game. Alan O'Connor just coming up there around the halfway line, trying to force the play there, give the offload. You know, Ulster starting a little bit of panic, starting to creep into their game. Just need to stay patient. They're going to get another couple of opportunities. And when they do, they got to strike. But possession back in Connacht's hands, and will they take a bit of my advice and keep it tight?
Yeah.
We'll wait and see.
Well, the last time these two met, 28th of December in Galway, Ulster were butchered on that occasion, 44-16. Connacht 6 tries in total, 2 tries for Delan, Warwick and Ludic Bin. So like tonight, 2 players off for Ulster. Wonderland for Connacht, nightmare for Ulster. Connacht attacking with panache. Ulster's defence that evening was an absolute train wreck. And remember Eddie O'Sullivan saying after the match that he felt that result could leave, and performance could leave, some scar tissue in this Ulster side. And actually Eddie O'Sullivan said the same thing after the Munster performance last week. Could it leave scar tissue? Is there scar tissue out there? Ulster at the moment with a huge amount of work to do. 14 points to 8 down. And remember, a man down on a red card. Matty Ray sent off. Here is Boyle. Caelan Blade. And it's Kelleher. Real wrestle again at the breakdown. Well, Dan McFarlane did say at the beginning of the season he expected this Ulster side to fight for every inch. Do you feel they're doing that?
They certainly are. They're digging in. They're giving themselves an opportunity to get back in this game.
No offense.
This game is really here for Connacht to lose. You know, we talked a little bit earlier on about how the red card isn't going to do the job for them. Connacht need to continue to do what they were doing really well in the first half, and that was just dominating impacts with and without the ball. They've given Ulster a foothold in the game. Ulster have developed it themselves though, with the amount of fight they've shown as well, and that's a perfect example of it. Marcel Coetzee getting over the ball.
Some of Ulster's breakdown work this season has not been of that high a standard, and they seem to have turned that around in a number of instances tonight, winning quite a raft of penalties in that facet of play. Here's Burns. McCluskey tries to get away from Carty, and Bundy goes in to help.
Away!
I think he needed a bit of help there too. Cooney for Kane. Kane hit by big man Quinn Roux.
Tackle fair, play on.
Rory Best on the inside for Eric O'Sullivan, who started against the Cheetahs. That was his first start for Ulster. Coetzee drops that mighty shoulder, and now John Cooney sees some space in behind. It's a ruined Pienaar style rolling kick. Adia Logan has to chase, get some support. Connacht think about going from deep here. Is this going to pay off for Cian Kelleher? Oh, and Blade is tackled by Nick Timoney, and how was he tackled? Great offload by Delahunt. Rory Best goes in, his turn to attempt to poach there for Ulster. Can't manage it. Blade to Carty, now Godwin half through, gets the offload to Boyle. And now Butler. It's a frenzied spell in this game. Adia Logan, don't give him space.
Stay last.
If he gets through a half gap, it is game over. Adia Logan has incredible acceleration and top-end speed. No, I think he's suffering from cramp out there. Here is Boyle. Alan O'Connor with the tackle. Tried the rip as well. Couldn't quite manage it.
Away two. Good.
Quite often there's space very close to those.
No, you're offside.
Rucks in that guard zone.
No, it's your own player. Play on.
Almost exploiting it there, but not quite. And again, they go tight.
Release, captain!
Another little mini rumble by them. And now Godwin to Kelleher, and Adia Logan on the outside. Here's Healy. Healy gives it to Nelson. Nelson brought down by Adia Logan.
Off!
He did well for a man who was suffering from cramp about 20 seconds ago on the other side of the pitch. Seems to be hurt there, Adia Logan. Now Coetzee.
All on blue, 9.
Huge amount of the rugby in this half has been played in Ulster's half.
Yes, it is.
Man sent off at the very beginning of the second period. In comes Kelleher again, and he's twin hit.
Here.
Kernahan was one of the tacklers for Ulster. Carty. Can he get the geography right this time? He's found a gap between the two Ulster defenders, but Peter Nelson is back there. It's a tight angle, so he opens up the angle by using Jacob Stockdale, who knows how to play at full back.
Pass number 5, collected number 5.
You mentioned earlier, Robbo, about the turnovers. I think it's Darren Cave that heads the most turnovers for Ulster this season, and you know, you really want your back row players topping that table. The likes of Marcel Coetzee, you know, Chris Henry in years gone by was the turnover king, getting stuck in, and we haven't seen much of him this season. I think he's still struggling with injury, but hopefully he'll be back in the next few weeks.
I'm glad from an Ulster's perspective to see a couple of changes. I think there's a couple of tired bodies. I think that red card has really taken its toll in the last sort of 10 minutes, defending hard. Ulster boys are digging in hard now, but there's a few guys out there. It's their first bit of rugby this season, and they're feeling the fatigue. Marcel Coetzee hasn't played an awful lot of rugby. Rory Best's gone off there. And I think Billy Byrne's gone, is he?
You'll be able to tell me, Robbo, when was the last game of rugby that Rory Best played? It's been quite a while.
Time back on.
It was either Munster at the end of last season or the Ospreys Champions Cup playoff game.
No, time's off.
It's been quite a long time, so get 65 minutes under your belt.
Time back on.
Recover from a couple of hamstring injuries. I think he's put in a hell of a shift tonight.
Yeah, he missed the summer tour. No Rob Herring either, who's got a toe injury. So it's Adam McBurney who's on. Now here's Blade. Hunted down by Ross Kane, but he escapes the clutch.
Stay. Yeah.
Joined by Conor Kerry, who spent 3 years in the Ulster youth system. Dundee Aki. So 15 minutes to go. And again, the play continues to exist almost exclusively inside this Ulster half. Just can't find an escape route at the moment. Kelleher can't get outside Kernahan. Alton Delan, did he knock that on? He's dropped it. It's a scrimmage to Ulster. Connacht don't win on the road very often, just one away win in their last 13 in the Pro 14. And that was in Italy against
13
Benetton.
white and 4 white. 4 and 13.
The pace of this game has threatened to increase in the last sort of 5 minutes, and then it's just got bogged down a little bit. I just don't know who, if the pace of the game did increase, I just don't know who would benefit more, because in the first half, Ulster were the ones threatening with width and space. Obviously, with that red card, then you would like to think if the pace of the game increases, then it would enhance Connacht's opportunity to finish off this game.
James Hume is on for Angus Curtis, who should get 2 salaries tonight for playing back row and midfield, out of position. Yeah. In fact, on this date, October the 5th, 1960, the first Bond movie was premiered. Do you remember the first Bond movie?
That's fine.
Yeah, we know the music. What was the movie?
Couldn't tell you, Robbo.
Dr. No.
Crouch!
58 years ago tonight.
Bind!
No apologies needed for that one, Robbo.
No. Oh, penalty at the scrum. I talked about
Russia bind.
Ulster being obliterated in this department in the first half. It led to the penalty try, and it's now led to a penalty that's directly in front of the posts. I mean, you look at the gap between the sides, 6 points. Ulster within a converted try at the moment. This would change things big style.
Absolutely. Ulster are in striking distance at this stage. If Cardi knocks this over, then Ulster just have to work a little bit harder, but there's plenty of time left in this game. It looks like it's starting to slip away from Ulster at this stage, despite the fight that they're showing.
I think, Robbo, you know, I was chatting to Bryn Cunningham earlier, and the amount of injuries that Ulster have, the guys that have come in, Marty Moore, Geordie Murphy, Will Addison, you know, Henry Spate, none of those guys playing, and then you take the likes of Tommy Bowe, Jared Payne, Paddy Jackson, Paul Marshall, Andrew Trimble, Charles Payne, they just keep coming, you know. So it's going to take a while for this Ulster team to settle, and for Dan McFarlane to get things going. You know, you take that amount of experience out of a team, and the guys that are supposed to come in and fill that gap are end up out injured. You know, it really is difficult, and especially at home against a real fired up Connacht team, it's going to be a difficult night at the office.
Yeah, great credit to Connacht and Andy Friend, their new coach. Signs that they are building something here. Aspects of their game definitely on the up, clear plan, structures, and can they get that away win here at the Kingspan Stadium? It's looking more and more likely now. 2 scored, comeback required from Ulster with 14 men on the field. And Rory Best now nothing more than an observer.
Vantage knock. Vantage knock on.
Vantage for a knock on. McCluskey. Albie Matthewson style pass. We saw that last week for Munster through an NFL quarterback pass about 40 metres across the field in the victory over Ulster. Cooney. McPhillips is on. Johnny McPhillips, first appearance of the season. Matured fast last season when he came in for Paddy Jackson.
It's a high tackle by 10, blue penalty only.
McPhillips, 13 matches in the 17-18 campaign.
Vantage White.
Advantage to Ulster. McCluskey looking to get that right-handed characteristic offload away. And Jacob Stockdale will not be allowed the opportunity to escape there. The referee.
There's no point throwing your hands up at me. It's a forward pass. No advantage. High tackle you. Here you go. Yeah, it was, Matt. It's clearly forward.
For me, that's not forward. I think he goes backwards out of his hand. Again, another argument between Andrew Brace and Stuart McCluskey.
Connacht!
On me, boys, on me, step! Step!
James Cannon warming up on the bench. Kieran Treadwell is on and takes the ball. His 50th appearance for Ulster.
More!
Former Harlequin, former winger. I believe. Big man. Ulster clearing out hard and fast. Sean Reedy off the bench as well, wearing 20. And another penalty coming here to Ulster. That's been a problem for Connacht. Remember, 15 last week, 18 in Scotland.
Claps in the maul.
Jolly McPhillips gets a chance to drill this into the corner. Man who played out half of the Irish under-20s in the World Junior final a couple of years ago.
Got the penalty. That's a player on the ground. Okay. That's fine.
Chrissy, could I have blue 5, please? Blue 5.
Number 5. And 6 is coming here as well, yeah? Time is off.
6, yes, and 6. I've now got 6.
Ulster still fighting and getting a little bit of dominance and ascendancy in that maul.
Time is off. Time is off.
Good to see Ulster still feel like there's a game that can be won here. They've still got a bit of fight in them.
Okay, on the line, Connacht.
Well, you feel they've got a score here, don't you? James Cannon.
Time back on. Connacht on the line.
Joins the excitement, and Quinn Roux is replaced. McBurney taken by Sean Reedy. Good take by Reedy. 6 line out takes for him against the Kings and getting on the ball there. McBurney being bustled and hustled off the ball. That is superb work by Connacht. That is an angry team in defence.
Good contest.
And that's how you deal with that.
And he let go.
Unbelievable physicality there from Connacht in defence. They let them drop. It's a great setup, a good throw by McBurney. They get the setup, but what power coming from the Connacht forwards there. Yeah. Brilliant turnover, Connacht line out.
Let's go, Connacht.
Big surge coming from Connacht in defence, and you think just settle, it's going to settle down, and it just never does. It just keeps coming. McBurney's under pressure, and then he puts John Cooney under pressure. Turnover.
Yeah, there's a tidal effort there from Connacht. Cannon takes the ball. Here is Blade.
Okay, away White. Stay here.
Connacht looking for
use it 9.
A hard Brexit, I suppose, here to get themselves out of trouble into the final 10 minutes. And now it is all about how they game manage this Ulster side and manage themselves.
I think we're going to see 0 rugby from Connacht in the last 10 minutes of this game. Just keep putting it down there and just say Ulster score from back there.
And you come, Ulster.
Connacht just need to exit efficiently, put the ball down there and just make really clever decisions to close out this game.
McTimoney's turn to take the ball for Ulster this time. Ulster form the white armadillo. Here's McPhillips. Oh, giving the ball away to Bundyaki. And Bundyaki is going to seal the deal here for Connacht. The attack dogs have struck through their talisman in midfield, the Irish international Bundy Aki, and there is joy all over the faces of the loyal travelling support.
Yeah, Ulster are on a little bit of a hiding to nothing here. They have to play, they have to roll the dice, they have to make risky plays, and that's what they do. And Bundy Aki, who's a smart operator, he knows that's coming, and he takes a chance, gets in the passing channel and plucks it, and he shows a good bit of pace here because Jacob Stockdale is rapid and he's not even closing on him.
Okay, Bracey, 7 minutes to go. Keep working this.
Yeah, man. Former Pro 12 player of the season, Bundy Aki, winner of this
inside the 15
tournament with Connacht in 2016. And his return to this side for the Scarlets game, it has made such a difference to the way this team operates, which doesn't really come as much of a surprise.
There's only a few Connacht legends, and you know, John Muldoon, certainly one of them, have written down right beside Bundy Aki's name, a Connacht legend. He's been faithful to those guys through the hard times. He stuck around, and he was able to win a Pro 12 in 2016. And fair play to him. He's been superb tonight in attack and defence. He's battered and bruised, but I think he's got this game done for Connacht here tonight.
Him and Tom Farrell, the two of them have worked hard, and most of their contribution has been in defence. It's just been physicality, so it's been grunt work, it's been unseen, and then you can see him getting the reward he deserves.
No, Jack Carty cannot add the extra 2, but it should matter not now. A very solid lead.
Yeah, man. Right, yeah. Yeah.
Ulster trying an ambitious wraparound move as they chase the game.
Kicking the ball out of the ruck.
Connacht penalised, kicking the ball out of the ruck. They have given away a lot of penalties in the second half. And the referee has shown a reasonable amount of patience with them.
Captain, that's just silly, isn't it? Okay, next one in this area, somebody's going to leave. So you get the word across now. Yes, hold him, Sean.
It's hard to see what can save Ulster. Well, that's a very clear penalty. It's hard to see what can save Ulster now. Ross Kane gathers the ball. He thought he had.
Release White.
And Connacht
away White.
Got it back again.
Hold. No. Knock on advantage.
5 minutes to go. Nothing Ulster can do now. Simply too much ground to make up at this stage.
Stay there. Onside. Good.
Jack Carty
advantage over.
Clears the ball away. The Connacht general at out half. Again tonight, as he has been all season. His game certainly improving, it would seem, under Andy Friend. A pretty good season last season too, continuing on. Developing all the time.
Ulster, in you come.
So McBurney to Ian Henderson.
Ball. Keep it up, Connacht.
Ulster who's got through a real shed load of work today. The ball, was it dropped in the maul by Ulster? It is.
Stay.
Connacht have it back. Here is Ulton Delan. And Carty looking for width. There might be a chance in this outside channel here. Matt Healy's a lot of pace. Here it is, Healy. Matt Healy can cut you apart from very deep.
Play on.
He scored a lot
down.
of tries from distance, as Matt Healy. The Irish international. Carty knows there's a lot of space back there. And Peter Nelson tracks the ball down. And now hunts down space in that Connacht defence. Can't get away. Ulster in desperation. McCluskey looks for the handoff, does well. A lot of tired men out there.
No, you put him in there.
Here it is, Johnny McPhillips, and he's caught either on or just behind the gain line by Ulton Delan.
Stay last feet.
Another player with a big carry count, tackle count tonight is the man from Paris, Nelson. And Henderson.
Onside.
Big 80 minutes from the Irish international lock, come back row forward. Ian Henderson, but it's not going to be enough. Ulster looking for width again. It's Sean Reedy in possession. McPhillips to Henderson. Attempts to wriggle away from his fellow lock forward, Alton Delan. McPhillips.
Just a knock-on advantage.
James Hume goes down on the ball and doesn't knock it forward. And
away now, Connacht.
Cooney, McPhillips, fancy handling and brings Peter Nelson onto the ball.
Advantage over.
Cooney for Treadwell. 2 minutes to go. Tremendous performance on the road by Connacht. Fully deserving of this victory.
On the ball.
Scrum has been just one of their focal points, dominating Ulster there, dominating territory in this second half. Ulster rocking back. Here's Kernahan.
Tackle! Move! Ball is there, stay.
Finding it so difficult to dig any sort of tunnel and get out of their 22 at the moment.
No, Rock!
Looking after possession. It's not going to make any difference to the result, and very little chance of Ulster even coming up with a losing bonus point. Lovely hands from McCluskey.
Rockford!
But this is Connacht's night, and they deserve everything they get here. McPhillips to Nelson. And James Hume now. Come on for his debut
onside,
after 65 minutes last week in Limerick for Billy Burns. Here is Ross Kane. A lot of academy players seeing game time at the moment for Ulster as they try to deal with a long injury list. Marty Moore, I believe, will be back next week, though. Here's McCluskey. Can Ulster finish with a try? And Ulstermen all know how quick this man is, Nick Timoney. He has a winger's pace, and at least Ulster finish with a punctuation point.
Nothing less than Ulster deserve, to be honest. They've shown an awful lot of fight in this game. That red card was an absolute sucker punch for them just after half-time. The two disallowed tries in the first half were two sucker punches as well, and it was really, really tricky for them to bounce back. But they've showed a bit of resilience in this game. They've showed a bit of fight, and that's exactly what Dan McFarlane told us that we would get from this Ulster team. So I think they deserve this, and that man, Nick Timoney, doing what he does best. He's got a bit of sevens pedigree. He's got bags of pace and physicality, and he's shown it off there.
Right. 5 tries last season for Nick Timoney, including a couple against the Dragons. McPhillips losing bonus point is now very much on the cards for Ulster. They've moved to within 7 points. And they could get a draw. Hang on a minute, folks. And Ulster know all about it. All change. This could be a dramatic climax. A very dramatic climax. Here's McCluskey. Brought down by Adi Alokan.
Rock!
Oh, what happened there?
Away now.
Looked like there might have been a little bit of a knock-on, but there wasn't. And Ulster are fully fueled and fully fired up now.
Still is good.
Leave what's ahead of them. Connacht need one more turnover. Good. And they've got the steal, they've got the ball, they've got the victory. And it's Carney into touch. And it's Connacht who have won in Belfast for the first time since 1960. A 58-year gap has been bridged. Andrew Trimble, Stephen Ferris, Connacht's night, and who's your man of the match?
A couple of honourable mentions. Jared Butler's been very good. To be honest, anybody in that Connacht back row. Jack Carthy's been incredible. He's just dictated the pace of the game. He's kept that back line thinking, and he's been put in a bit of an armchair with this Connacht pack, to be fair. But for me, Stevie, Sean O'Brien's been incredible tonight.
Absolutely, he's been brilliant. Goodness knows how many tackles he's made. I think it was 17 in the first half alone. What a performance. We bigged him up before the match, and he has delivered.
Well, not a great night for Dan McFarlane, but a very good night indeed for Connacht. Well, the top grossing movies in 1960 were Psycho and Ben-Hur. This has been another cinematic classic here at the Kingspan. Ulster 15, Connacht 22. Well, very disappointing evening for the returning Rory Best. Andrew, how, in general terms, would you sum that up? When you look at Tiernan O'Halloran there, they lost Marmee and O'Halloran, key backs for them, which was a turning point in a sense from a Connacht perspective, losing those two backs. But of course, that red card at the start of the second half. But Connacht deserving huge credit. Yeah, I think so. I think, to be honest, tonight was a bit of a spectacle. I thought both sides performed really well. Both sides coped with the adversity that was thrown at them. A couple of injuries early on for Connacht. They bounced back and they almost changed their game plan. Accordingly, they just went to a physical arm wrestle and they just squeezed out a result. Ulster, I thought, showed an awful lot of resilience. Whenever you look at that Ulster side that performed last week, they just unravelled down in Munster in Thomond Park. They just unravelled and they came apart. Tonight we show, I think maybe it could have been the influence of Ian Henderson, could have been the influence of Rory Best. Whenever you've got a leader like Rory Best, you don't unravel. You stick in there. I think they showed a lot of fight tonight, but they were outdone by a serious Connacht performance. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Stephen. Well, very often in the past, Sean O'Brien has been man of the match, but usually he's been in the blue of Leinster or the green of Ireland. This time it's a different Sean O'Brien, the Sean O'Brien of Connacht. And let's hear from him right now.
Sean, your first win here since 1960. Quite a remarkable stat, that, and quite a remarkable performance to put it right tonight.
Oh yeah, it's been a hoodoo fixture for us for quite a while, and we've had a couple of close calls up here in the last couple of years, and it's just unbelievable to come away with a win. We spoke about it during the week that we really wanted to win up here, so just delighted to be able to get it done.
Completely dominated the scrum battle. Given the experience Ulster had coming into their pack, how satisfying is that?
Sorry?
You completely dominated the forward battle tonight. How satisfying is that, given the experience Ulster had coming in?
Yeah, I think the front row put in a massive shift. That try at the beginning, we spoke down there about we having to convert, and the lads just knew their roles and delivered, and it was just unbelievable to come away there, just such a morale boost. So just a massive shift from the front row.
You say the front row, you put in 17 tackles at half-time, being described as the best Sean O'Brien in Ireland right now. You'll sleep well tonight, I'm sure.
I don't know about that, but just happy to play a part with the lads for a win. Unbelievable.
And going into Europe off the back of an encouraging display in Leinster and a very convincing win tonight, what will that give you?
It just gives us confidence. We went into these couple of weeks, this first 6 weeks, knowing that it was tough fixtures, and we've come away and we've had reasonable results, and that's a good start to our season, and that was the kind of thing we were looking to build on. So it gives us good confidence going into Europe, and just really happy with how things are going at the minute with the squad.
I'm here to present you with your Man of the Match award is Ian Hall from Guinness. Thank you.
What a performance, Sean O'Brien. Right, a huge night in store in Las Vegas tomorrow night as Conor McGregor makes his long-awaited return at UFC 229. That's live on BT Sport 1 from 1 a.m. A big win for Connacht in Kingspan tonight. Time for another short break. We shall see you in a few minutes to discuss it all.
Epic awaits. Transform your world with Air. Sign up today and get totally unlimited superfast fibre broadband plus free Air Sport and BT Sport for just $39.99 a month, and all on a 12-month contract. Air. Let's make possible.
At Bruce Betting, we're giving you more. Whether you bet on our website, iOS app, or via our new Android app, Bruce Betting have all your betting needs covered. Packed with features and easy to use, the new Bruce Betting app includes ACCA insurance, cash out, and live casino. Bruce Betting, giving you more. In store, online, and now on your phone.
Opportunity keeps knocking. The question is, will I make it mine or drop it? My heart is pumping, my mind been pondering. It's everything or nothing. Yeah, I never did it for the mass appeal. Committed 10,000 hours trying to master skill. Yeah, this is what my dreams are made of. And every night I didn't sleep is gonna pay off. For everyone that ever doubted me, they way off. Set ready, go for the takeoff.
The best men don't just look good on the outside. They take a good look inside. They let it out, hug it out. The best men aren't afraid of commitment, and they're always there when it counts. The best men make every challenge their Everest, but don't beat themselves up if they only make base camp. To the men who always give their best, we've given you our best quality blades for over 100 years, because what you're made of makes a difference. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Cavaliers of Charleville, come on, get behind the wheel. Cavaliers of Charleville, you won't find a better deal. Cavaliers of Charleville, we got all the cars you need. Cavaliers of Charleville, satisfaction guaranteed with quality that's hard to beat. We'll put you in the drive.
New location now open in Mallow.
Of Charleville, you won't find a better deal. Cavaliers of Charleville.
Too many families are homeless in Ireland today. More than 1 in 3 of those in emergency accommodation is a child. Give just one night to change a lifetime. Join Ireland's business leaders this October and sleep out to shine a light on homelessness.
Make your premises the go-to venue for live sports with the 6-channel Air Sport Pack. Keep existing customers with Saturday 5:30 Premier League fixtures. Increase football with midweek champions and Europa League action. Attract new customers with homegrown Irish content from the Airtricity League, Leinster and Munster in Champions Cup Rugby, GAA Alliance Leagues, and the best of the club championships. Distinguish your premises as a prime sports venue by getting the Air Sport Pack today. Phone 01 834 0033.
Whichever skier you are, Crystal Ski has a holiday to suit you. See crystalski.ie.
Yes, that's going to be a huge